color-coded and where people would sit. College football is more challenging to me. And, we both love college football, Paul, and you're the person I listen to the most on it. And we know how this sport has exploded over the last few years. And we also know how football, more than anything else, not only supports other athletic programs at these schools. I know you've talked about this. Sometimes it keeps the whole school propped up. And I can't imagine them coming back to empty stadiums the way perhaps professional sports would be willing to turn them into studio sports. What do you think?
No, it's the biggest challenge of all the sports, Mike, and
right,
you're right about and I, everyone's announcing they're opening school, but it's one thing we don't know what they're really saying though, and I think being operational and having a lot of students on campus are two different things.
Yeah, Paul, I've got in the next room. I have my ending her junior year at college daughter. And she's scared to death about what might happen to her senior year and whether she might have to start it remotely. And so, again, those are far bigger. I feel, we all ache for every high school senior and college senior who didn't get to take the walk this year. Okay, so that's those kids really did get, they really did get screwed here. But college football and the whole idea of college football is built around those stadiums being full of people. If the college campus doesn't have kids on it when first semester starts, how the heck are they going to have Alabama-Auburn?
I don't know, and college football starts with a bang too. The first couple of weeks, there are a lot of really big games. So the idea of we just talked to somebody from Oregon. The idea of Ohio State and Oregon with 6,000 people in it just doesn't sound very palatable. But what I keep hearing is it's difficult to have college football if you don't have colleges in session.
Right. Yeah, and again, the sense of community, okay, the sense of partisanship in the best possible sense of the word. That's the place, the magical place that our friend Dan Jenkins called Saturday's America. Okay,
yeah.
Now they've expanded that now, so it's Friday nights America and Saturdays, and all the way to Thursday night. But what I'm saying is, I can't imagine them playing this sport in empty stadiums, or I can't imagine them playing this sport with 2,500 or 5,000 people in the big house in Ann Arbor. I can see them doing it with pro football. I can, because we know how important television is to sports like baseball and football. My God, but baseball is the greatest summer television series ever invented. People talk about how baseball's primetime ratings aren't great, but guess what? They're on every single night from the beginning of April to the end of March to October, okay? So they can have it as a television sport. I am so worried about college football in the fall because, I was talking to the great Hank Aaron the other day, and I said, do you think they're going to play baseball this year? And he said, I'm still not sure they will, but I weep at the idea that they won't. And then he said something about empty stadiums. He said, I'll understand why they have to do it. But he said, Mike, baseball's such a friendly sport. And I just love the way he said it, and, being in the crowd, it's such an ecumenical crowd. And to take the crowd and even the tailgating and all the pageantry of college football away, yeah, Paul, they could play the games, but man, it would be like some bizarro world version of college football.
Well, we both know that the college presidents and the leaders wouldn't want them to think it's professional sports in any way, shape, or form, because after all, it's just college football. It's for rah-rah for old Notre Dame.
Yeah, nobody's making any money at these schools. It's amazing they haven't had to shutter the doors because no money is flowing into this sport. Thank you for pointing that out.
We had a long conversation on your podcast. I think it was in November. And by the way, I think I coughed through the entire podcast, and my wife now believes I may have been the first person in America to have this disease, because you kept saying, "Are you okay?"
Well,
I just thought of that. I'm sitting there in Lower Manhattan, talking to you, and I can barely talk, and I haven't been the same since. But I'm not blaming
No,
your...
you sounded like Ingrid Bergman in the Bells of St. Mary's. Yeah.
But it was the longest, and I would talk to you on my deathbed, and quite frankly, I think I was. But the conversation was about Saban, and you have to wonder though. Here's a guy. He'll be 69 in October. And he lost last year, and he's not only fighting time, he's fighting a disease that may cost him a valuable season.
Yeah, it's funny when I was just starting out in this business, and anybody who knows anything about me knows that Bud Collins, who was so much more than a tennis writer, he's a great sports writer, great columnist, and John Hanna, remember John Hanna?
Oh,
was holding
of course.
out from the Patriots, and Bud wrote a column. And it was like talking directly to Hannah. And he said, how many Sundays do you have? How many Sundays do you think you're promised in this sport? And I've never forgotten that. Time is so valuable, whether you're a soon-to-be 69-year-old coach, or you're 27 or 28 as Mike Trout is, or you're 35 as LeBron James is, or you're 44 or 45 as Tiger Woods is. The thing that all the money, we talk about the money in sports all the time, Paul, okay? It can't buy you time. And when you sense it sifting through that hourglass, I'm sure everybody who does what we do for a living, okay, it feels the sense of urgency and the hope that there is going to be a way to get these things up and running. But again, without a vaccine, I don't know how sports is going to look for at least the next year or so.
Mike Lupica, always enjoyable. His book out today. You said so. Another one next week. This is your.
Yeah, no, I'll be back next.
Okay, we'll save it.
Okay, no, it's Robert B. Parker's Grudge Match. Middle graders is called.
So, do you even, Mike? Before you go, do you even know how many books you've written?
I think this is number 42. And by the way, before I go, my last thing I'll say is, when you were talking about independent bookstores, if people have a way to do it, find out the website of their closest independent bookstore. They are the rock solid foundation, as you know, of what we do, and buy my book there.
Well said. You notice I did not mention that evil name in deference to you. Mike, come back any day of the week, whether you have a book or not. It's a great pleasure. And
Tell your brilliant producer, let's just put it this way, I'm available.
They one in particular who is sitting in Bristol, Connecticut, used to produce your show. He knows you well. So
I know he does.
I will lean on Dan Z early and often, because this has been quite a joy. Mike, be well. Thank you very much, and we will see you very soon.
Always great to talk to you, Paul.
Wow. What a conversation with the legendary Mike Lupica. Like a lot of people you completely forget that he was once among the very top sports writers in America at the New York Daily News. He hosted the Sports Reporters after Dick Schaap passed away. And also used to have a Sunday morning show on ESPN Radio. We are going to take a break. Back with much, much more.
Call Feinbaum now, 855-242-7285. That's 855-242-PAUL. This is the Paul Feinbaum Show.
ESPN Radio proudly recognizes National Military Appreciation Month, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union.
At 18 years old, Yogi Berra put his baseball career on hold and joined the Navy during World War II. After training as a gunner's mate, Yogi took part in the D-Day invasion in 1944. Berra earned a Purple Heart, a Distinguished Unit Citation, 2 Battle Stars, and a European Theater of Operations ribbon during the war.
No one is more reliable than you, the brave men and women of the military. Whether you're on active duty or a veteran, you're always there for us. That's why Navy Federal Credit Union has been there for you since 1933. Now more than ever, we want to thank you. So we're saying it by offering special deals on credit cards, car loans, and certificates. Go to NavyFederal.org/celebrate to find out more. It's just a small token of our appreciation for our reliable military members. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission.
Your ESPN Pensacola Sports Headlines. I'm JP. The Bundesliga in Germany is set to become Europe's first major football league to resume playing during the coronavirus. The plan to restart was confirmed for this month as it was announced this morning. Germany's government and its federal states have given the green light to start again, with the date due to be decided when the German Football League meets for an ordinary assembly on Thursday. The earliest possible return date is May 15th, with a May 22nd start also considered. Miami Dolphins' Tua Tagovailoa will wear number 1, the first quarterback in franchise history to do so. Tua was drafted by the Dolphins with the number 5 pick in last month's NFL draft and is the most anticipated Dolphins quarterback since Dan Marino. Tua, who wore number 13 in college at Alabama, a number that is retired by the Dolphins for Marino, didn't consider asking Marino to unretire his jersey, instead taking his own path with number 1. For me, I'm not too worried about what number I have. I understand number 13 is retired, and it should be. Dan Marino is the GOAT. He's like the mayor out there, and I have much respect for him. New Wake Forest coach Steve Forbes said he took a thinly veiled shot at Powerhouse Kentucky as he tried to convince star center Oliver Sarr to stay with the Demon Deacons and earn a prestigious degree. Sarr, who averaged 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 1 block this season, is arguably the most coveted player in the transfer portal. He entered the portal shortly after Wake Forest fired Danny Manning last month. I think the most important thing is, why would you go to Wake for 3 years, put all that time in to get this prestigious degree, and end up getting your degree at a place like Kentucky? Forbes said. Kentucky and other Power 5 programs are likely to be suitors for Sarr's talents. And you saw it this morning on ESPN2. Well, only if you were up at 4 a.m., but the Doos and Bears took down the LG Twins 5-2 in the Korean Baseball League. For the Bears, O.J. Il was 3 for 4 with a home run and 2 RBIs. And for your ESPN Pensacola Sports Headlines, I'm JP.
You can imagine how happy we all were. My wife, our 3 kids, and I have found the perfect apartment to rent.
My school is right down the block?
Yes, it is.
Mommy, can we go to the park anytime we want?
Anytime we want.
So you can imagine trying to answer all their questions after the landlord turned us down.
What happened? Why can't we live there?
Why not, Papa?
What was I going to say? The landlord doesn't want families with kids in his building? We made a call to HUD and found out that being denied because we have kids is illegal. We got answers. We got help.
And we got the apartment.
If you think you've been discriminated against because of your familial status, race, color, religion, national origin, sex, or disability, call the HUD hotline, 1-800-669-9777, or go to hud.gov/fairhousing. File a complaint. Make something happen.
Fair housing is your right. Use it.
A public service message from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. We love our hometown heroes like Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawk Doug Baldwin.
They fake, little lob, wide open, touchdown, Doug Baldwin.
Bigger body than Wilson likes to throw to, big target. Here's Baldwin, smaller target, and he ducks in for the touchdown.
Hi, this is Doug Baldwin, and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
Pay-per-view.
Been a really good show. We've had Jeremy Pruitt on, the head coach at Tennessee. You heard the governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, and Mike Lupica. And the best for last. Our next guest is Jim from Tuscaloosa.
Paul
Paul, you had what I thought was an exceptional lady, Miss D from Georgia a few minutes ago.
Diane, yeah.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, Diane calling about Cat Daddy.
No, her name was D.
Oh, D, I'm sorry, D. You're right. Take that back.
I'm really getting disgusted with this Cat Daddy fellow that keeps calling in. I don't believe he is what he pretends to be, and he makes this voice up. I listen to your show about sports, and I know every now and then, occasionally, some different information, but every time he calls, it's always about some kind of political point of view. And I think he's misleading people by putting his fake voice on.
I totally agree, Paul. That's a brilliant woman. I mean, you talking about sapient, perceptive, on target, dead on. The guy is a hee-haw phony, Paul, and I totally agree with Miss D. She has got that nailed, and that guy has been a phony from the start. And you prop him up because, some of these hicks love that kind of guy, but he's a phony, Paul. That guy is a phony. I've been knowing that. Thank you, D. Thank you, Ms. D. That's great.
Calling Cat Daddy out for being a phony. So you think the whole thing is just?
I think I think his voice is made up. I think he knew that appeals to a lot of the Southerners. Types like iMonkey. They love that kind of. They even buy that. They buy it as it's real, and it's not real. That's not that guy. And he comes on every day with some malarkey about this, that, and it's crazy, just goofy stuff that people think, for some reason, think it's funny. I'm too smart to know. I know better than that. Miss D nailed that, Paul. She nailed it.
That's interesting. I've always enjoyed talking to him, but I will conclude that the calls seem like it's the same call.
Exactly. Just a few words changed for the date of whatever the date is.
So Jim, you're telling me you don't like the "Keep Hope Alive" finish to the call?
That's all phony stuff too, Paul. Who's been using that for 5 or 6 years, and then he throws that in there. He knows how to the key words to say. He's a phony, Paul. I'm telling you, he's a phony. Total phony. I mean, really. I mean, I'm safe. I've got discernment and perception. That guy is just a clown. But I wasn't going to say anything until somebody like Miss D came along and just nailed it. And these females are pretty sharp. They're smarter than we are. They really are.
Yeah, no, I think that I would. I concur. Wow. Well, are you holding up okay during this, Jim?
I'm delighted to finally hear somebody that really brought it, had tremendous, accurate commentary today.
Jim, are you making it through this pandemic here?
I'm doing fine, Paul. I'm doing fine. I'm wearing my mask, going to the store. Everybody's there, happy. I bought some great fish today. I mean, you shouldn't be holed up and scared, but you got your wife out there. You got your wife out there taking the dive for you. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, she's volunteered to take the hit.
Did you ever remember the phrase? You remind me of the Frazier show where that little dumpy guy that played the sports guy. He was a sports guy. It's amazing. He's a sports guy on what was his name? On Frazier, that little bald-headed guy. And they had a Frazier show one night. And they were bragging about what a hero he was because something he did. He was a total phony. And the way they caught him was somebody came in there and he was supposed to have gotten in front of a gun when somebody pulled a gun on Frazier in the coffee shop about a month before that. So now they're at a awards banquet, and all of a sudden Frazier wants to. Frazier's daddy knows he's a phony, so he gets some lady to pull a gun. And when he did on the guy, the bald-headed guy, and when he does, he runs and hides behind his mother.
So that's me, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know, Paul. You said today you send your wife out to take the hit on.
No, I didn't say I sent her out. You
said she goes and you safely stay at home. How am I supposed to?
Well, I mean, here's the deal, Jim. She does not work at home.
Look, Paul, I was born at night, but it wasn't last night.
You're right. Okay, Jim. Let me admit it. I'm hiding behind my wife. I'm afraid to go out of my house.
I mean, she's out there taking the possibility of getting the virus, and out there in the middle of it, you're all just you're safely sitting at home.
Well, the only point, the thing I said was she leaves anyway, and I was jokingly saying that she wearing a mask knows her way around better, understands how to avoid infection more than some stupid sportscaster.
Well, I agree with all of that. She's a far smarter lady than you and I, or any of the males I know, because that's the way women are. They're smarter than we are. That's why.
But if I need to go out and get something, Jim, I will.
Have you had to go anywhere lately?
Not yet.
Well, where do you have to go?
But I am on standby in case something occurs.
But back to Miss D. Miss D, please call back. You are a good caller. You're a brilliant lady, and you spotted the thief in the night. You got him. You caught him. Great job. Great job.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jim. Jim calling out Cat Daddy for echoing Miss D, for calling out Cat Daddy for being a phony. I mean, some things you never expect on this program. That's one I didn't count on. Just an absolute caller on caller crime there. We will come back. We've had a busy show with the governor of Ohio, Jeremy Pruitt, Mike Lupica. We still have a few more guests.
It's time for some straight talk. Even though most live sports are on hold now, big wireless companies haven't stopped playing games. They're always trying to lock you into overpriced contracts. With Straight Talk Wireless, there are no contracts. It runs on America's best network, same as the big carriers, but you save up to 50%. $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. You might miss sports, but don't play games, you'll lose. Straight Talk Wireless. No contracts, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Welcome back to Sports View. Today's topic, game changers. Makes me think of Progressive's Home Quote Explorer. Finally, a simple, efficient way to quote home insurance. Let's go to Colin, who will now try to say something.
Okay, first of all, are you kidding? Never in my life. Okay, when you see stuff like this, look, I'm not the only one who thinks this, although everybody says I am.
Well said, Colin. Well said.
Get right to the point with Home Quote Explorer. It's a game changer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
For This Week in Sports History, I'm JP. In 1904, Cy Young pitches the first perfect game in modern baseball for Boston Americans against the Philadelphia Athletics, 3-0. In 1982, Californian federal jury rules NFL violates antitrust laws in preventing the Oakland Raiders' move to the LA Coliseum. In 1987, Mario Andretti sets one-lap speed record at Indianapolis at 218 miles an hour. In 1994, Lennox Lewis knocks out Phil Jackson in 8 rounds for the heavyweight boxing title. In 2002, Barry Bonds hits his 400th home run as a San Francisco Giant in a 3-0 win over Cincinnati. Bonds is the first player with 400 homers for one team and 100 with another. And in 2019, Pablo Sandoval becomes the second MLB player since 1900 to throw a scoreless outing, hit a home run, and steal a base in the same game in the San Francisco Giants' 12-4 loss to Cincinnati. Not too bad for Kung Fu Panda, huh? That's This Week in Sports History. I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can imagine how happy we all were. My wife, our 3 kids, and I have found the perfect apartment to rent.
My school is right down the block?
Yes, it is.
Mommy, can we go to the park anytime we want?
Anytime we want.
So you can imagine trying to answer all their questions after the landlord turned us down.
What happened? Why can't we live there?
Why not, Papa?
What was I going to say? The landlord doesn't want families with kids in his building? We made a call to HUD and found out that being denied because we have kids is illegal. We got answers. We got help.
And we got the apartment.
If you think you've been discriminated against because of your familial status, race, color, religion, national origin, sex, or disability, call the HUD hotline, 1-800-669-9777, or go to hud.gov/fairhousing. File a complaint. Make something happen.
Fair housing is your right. Use it.
A public service message from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Nick Saban has a message for us regarding the coronavirus.
First of all, I hope this message finds you and your family safe and well. On behalf of our program, we want to give thanks to all the medical professionals and caregivers in our state and across the country in these challenging times. Our daily routines have changed dramatically over these past weeks. As we have said to our team, we share the same message to all of you. Please understand the following guidelines of social distancing. We ask that everyone please wash your hands often. Stay at home if at all possible. And when you have to be out in public, make sure you keep 6 feet between you and the nearest person. We are in this together, and as one team, we will get through these difficult times. And together, we look forward to all that's to come, like the opportunity to play college football this fall. But the best and safest way to ensure that happens is to listen to the experts, follow their guidelines, and take care of each other. Stay safe and roll Tide.
For your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Facts, I'm JP. Rumor has it a baseball game in the Atlantic League in 1893, a batter broke his bat and grabbed an axe as it was the only thing to swing around and hit the next pitch in half, where half of the ball went over the fence and they won 2.5-2 in the 11th inning. Quite the walk-off. The home team must provide the referee with 36 footballs for each National Football League game. Just be sure to check the PSI if the Patriots are supplying the footballs. That's your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Facts. I'm JP.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the Sports Drive, well, it's going to be exciting to have Joe Theismann, one of the legendary quarterbacks of the NFL, talk a little bit about the Alex Smith situation, quarterbacks coming up in this year's draft, and also more on, yes, the KBO, and a little Mike Tyson.
Has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin, shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin. Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl. Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr. Brooklyn beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 for Gatlin, 992 by the American champion to take gold. Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta, and this time his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome into the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. Glad you watered the plant today, by the way. Looks good. Looks
Thank
nice,
you.
by the way. JP joining us as well, as you can hear me each and every afternoon on Talk Football with Coach K, and also with now what has been like the flavor of the quarantine is the Hi, I'm JP's with doing some classic work on there. I was driving in, I heard some really good information. Proud of you, man. Now, there was some really good stuff, though. I as a sports fan, as you and I are sports fans, one of the things is learning something cool, something unique, something you didn't know. And I'm driving back from the show last night. We sort of are, going downhill. At the end, you hit that wall about 6:58. Mike Bates always used to joke around when he would listen to the show, and it'd be about 6:55. He tuned into his favorite show at 7. He'd always watch from 6:55 to 7, and he'd always say, "Man, this show, what's going on with this thing?" And I said, Well, don't tune in to the last 3 minutes of the show and expect anything outside of pretty much chaotic mess over a time period. But one thing that we will say is, the information out there is easy to find on your phone these days, things like that. But I didn't even know. And I'm pretty good. I've won a couple probably ancillary, meant nothing type of like Hooter or Twin Peaks trivia contests. Don't judge that I mentioned two places. I'm just saying, overall, the contests on those trivia nights, I'm pretty good at usually in sports. Did not know that there was a baseball that sliced in half and went over for a half a home run. Did not know that exists. And that was pretty cool. Could have been completely one of those fake news reports, but I looked it up. It's real. So good digging right there.
It's real news.
Like Elias Sports Bureau in here. Pretty proud of it.
Well, with no sports really going on, that's it's kind of been my life for the past month and a half. So, yeah.
Well, it should be fun to catch up with somebody that's been part of the show here before and somebody we've had in studio right now. We have not. If you saw the post earlier from social media, look, we're social distancing. He was only about 3 feet away in the picture, but legendary quarterback Joe Theismann going to join us here in a few minutes as he is out there in Destin, Florida, makes his way over here to the Panhandle and having a chance. Probably has been working on his golf game, but it's going to be exciting to see an opportunity to sit down with Joe and talk everything in the world of the NFL. And he also a guy when it comes down to what happened there with Alex Smith, an opportunity to talk about the injury from something that a lot of people don't understand. The similarities were almost crazy to think. Same date, same injury, same score of the game, and a lot. But looking forward to talking with the legendary quarterback, voice of Monday Night Football for so many years, and just well-rounded in everything, even on and off the field. And some of the ladies even know him down here for his amazing Hallmark movies. I'm sure he is very. I've seen a couple. They're really good. Good actor. I don't ever want to dive into that. Joe Theismann joining us here. Joe, it's an honor to have you again, and I hope you've been able to take off a couple strokes in this time of social distancing on the golf course.
Oh, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. No, actually, it's funny. I got down here about a month ago, and on the second day, I hurt my left shoulder.
Oh.
So we have had here in this, Pensacola, Destin, Panama City, this whole Panhandle has had some of the most beautiful weather I've ever seen in years coming down here, 10, 12 years, 15 years coming down. And I'm just sitting here watching it, enjoying the nice weather. Try social distancing is important. And this is on a serious note. I know this is the hardest time right now for everybody. You're feeling better. They're starting to open up the beaches and stuff. And I got to tell you, our governor here in Florida has done such a fantastic job taking care of the people. I mean, just a great amount of thought went into the way he wanted to do it, and I commend him tremendously. But we still have to be smart. We got to get through this thing.
Well, Joe, well said right there. And one of the things where it comes down to Florida is people move down here for the golf courses, the white sand beaches, everything about it. You've lived in some cold areas, and, when you played in South Bend and I'm sure in Washington, a little bit different in times of the year than people sitting there getting one of those raccoon tans on a boat. But I will say, if you look at everything about Florida, it's something that people have had to change the culture, change a lot. I talked to Gene Stallings yesterday, and he said, Chad, we've been social distancing out here for about 40 years on my 100-acre ranch. So, I mean, he's out there on a ranch in the middle of Texas. A lot of people in different areas have been doing that for a long time. When people come down to Crab Island and all the places that we drive by, we know they're there for a reason. So it's even harder, I think, for people in this area to sit indoors and be told not to go out and enjoy what is the beauties of life living here.
Yeah, but the other thing, too, Chad, is at least you can get outside. I mean, for example, in the Washington metropolitan area, it's going to be 33 tonight, and it's going to be in the 40s tomorrow. What are we, 84 right now down here? I mean, at least you can get outside. And I just did a Zoom chat with a speakers bureau that hires me to do some stuff, and we were talking about, this. Instead of people having to deal with change, I just call it innovation. Now you have to be an innovator. You have to create situations for your family, create situations for yourself, and find things to do. Really, you're going from day to day. You're just trying to get to the next day, and maybe we get a little closer to a vaccine. Maybe we get a little closer to treatment that we can treat everybody with and give us a chance to get out and get going. But, it's been a bit of a bummer, but hey, the draft came around, and the good news was that's sort of my official start to football. So, that was a pretty good thing.
That was awesome. Anytime, and the draft had actually at one point 9 million more people than the highest total ever, because you take away the NBA playoffs, Major League Baseball around that time, a lot of things to go outside and do, NHL playoffs, which would have been ending March Madness, and every sports fan was watching the draft. We're football fans in this area. You don't grow up here and not become a football fan, but at the same time, you look at things like Korean baseball. I'm not going to lie, I have a hard time sleeping anyway. Maybe it's the 6 Red Bulls. But, Joe, I was watching the games until about 3 a.m. on the couch. I'm watching these guys. I have no clue how to pronounce some of these guys' names, but I'm watching just because it's live sports. So
that's okay. I'm watching replays of the Tampa Bay Rays baseball games from a year ago.
Well, Joe, I lived in that area. I covered when I worked with ESPN Orlando. I've always said, if you want to look to social distancing, watch like the 95 Rays games when they're the Devil Rays, and people already social distance. There's only like 4 people in the crowd. So that might be the answer if we watch some of those.
What's interesting, too, is one of the things that the league is talking about is playing in empty stadiums. We don't know what September's going to hold. I mean, we've got, all of May, all of June, all of July, all of August. We don't know what things are going to be like 4 or 5 months from now, but I had a chance in 1974 when I was with the Redskins. It was a strike year, and none of the veterans came in, so the rookies, which I was one at that time, I went to training camp, and we've actually played 6 preseason games at that time, and I'll never forget a preseason game at RFK Stadium where it sat 55,000 people, and there were 3,000 in the stands. I've played in front of an empty stadium, and it's a whole eerie, different world. But if we have to do it, we have to do it.
Yeah, I think most people have that sentiment. It is, in SEC country, you get 100,000 plus at stadiums. You played right there in front of the Notre Dame faithful. Wherever you go, it's the largest fan base. That's why they got the peacock in the corner and make that money, because they can. Notre Dame, anywhere you go, has a huge fan base. But, Joe, you know that it's not people picking that they don't want fans. It's if they make the choice, hey, we're not going to play football for 2 months, or we can play now and ease it in maybe week 7, week 8 when it's maybe acceptable. I think those are, and we don't know either of those answers right now, but I think that's what the people are picking the latter in that case, not as much if you had a choice, because I hope anybody with a choice, unless you're Vanderbilt playing at Alabama, you probably wouldn't mind some fans. Outside of that, I think most people are picking the fans in the stands.
Well, it's really a tough thing. I mean, as we move forward to try and figure out exactly what is going to transpire, will there be another spike in the virus? Will there not? What will happen when people get around one another? We're finding that out now. Restaurants are opening up 25%. Well, you still have people in restaurants. You still have to take your mask off to eat. And now we'll see phase 1, what it's going to look like. The thing is I don't think you can just allow, and I know people are saying, hey, just let me in the stadium, I'll take the risk. Well, you can take the risk, but what about other people? I mean, it's more than just thinking about ourselves. It's thinking about the people that we possibly could affect. And it runs the gamut. It isn't just people of an older age. I mean, we saw, a 6-year-old, I read in the paper, a 6-year-old little girl passed. I mean, you just don't know who it's going to hit and how it's going to hit. And until we have a more definitive idea of what's going on, I think we have to be smart. And like I said, the National Football League is lucky in so much that they don't start the season for, another 4 months, possibly. So, and a lot can transpire. A lot can transpire in 1 month. But we need to see exactly where we are, and everybody needs to wash your hands. You need to do all the things that you're asked to do. That's why we've reached this point of phase 1. And I believe in the people of this country. I believe in them 100%, that they're going to be smart and they're going to do what's necessary as we go forward. This will change the way we live our lives, Chad. Our life's changed. There is no normal anymore. Whatever it is, it's going to be a new normal.
Well, Joe, I've learned a lot of Moana songs having a 4-year-old at the house. I'll tell you that much. But but it's also good. We can get in the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
You were a pro football player and also a guy around the game, owned a team, as you talked about, and that had a chance there, and just been around, the hustle and bustle of life. And with family, I hope that people, if they can take anything out of it, they've grown stronger with the people they've been quarantined with. Now, I've seen the ads for more DUI and also attorneys when it comes to divorces. But I hope that most people out there, the majority, are getting closer and realize the important things in life, because that's what I'm trying to get out.
So.
It's that time that we might have not had a chance, or you're running to one meeting to another. I hope people can cherish those little moments.
If it wasn't for the COVID virus, we would not have been forced, and I literally mean forced, into the situations that we're in. And I think you take the good out of it. It's hard. It's hard being away from work. It's hard not doing your job. For a lot of people out there, there's no income. It's tough, and totally understood. But if you're going to be home, and you've got to make the most of it, and you have to create a sense of discipline for yourself. I think everybody has to take time, especially in our listening area, go outside. Take an hour to yourself. Go walk. Give everybody a chance to go to neutral corners, so that you're not on top of everyone all the time. I think the teachers. Let me tell you something, and this goes across this country. I believe that parents right now have a much greater appreciation of teachers than they've ever had before. What the school systems do, the teachers that teach our students, it is not easy at all. And I really believe parents can look at this and say, you know what, I really respect the job. I always have respected it. But you start homeschooling now and doing things on Zoom and Skype and every other type of element out there, it's challenging. Absolutely.
Speaking with legendary quarterback Joe Theismann, kind enough to make time for us. Joe, we could talk for hours. I know we sat there that one day and we're like, yeah, we'll do 10, and then all of a sudden 50 minutes later, I do want to get in the X's and O's of the game.
That was fun, by the way.
It
was
was,
thinking
yeah.
about that, too. Yeah, I was thinking about that. It was great.
Well, it meant a ton to me as a sports fan growing up and a washed-up pitcher. I do hold a record. My co-host can I actually have an infinity ERA as a college baseball pitcher, and at that point, I don't think I can ever have that beat. I only pitched 2 batters, torn my rotator cuff, and allowed a run. So there was nothing to divide that by. I'm not proud of it, but it will always be in the record books, and nobody can ever break that record. So there you go.
Well, see, I have mine is a 1-yard punt.
Okay.
So now here's the situation with Soldiers Field, third game of the season, 1985. Our punter who kicks off for us tears the thigh muscle on a kickoff. We don't have a punter. So I'm standing on the sideline with Joe Gibbs, and he says, we don't have a punter. As I can punt. He says, fine. Well, I can do anything, That's the way I felt about it. That's the way I feel about life. So I go run it on the field. We get the ball on our own 13-yard line, run a running play, gain 2 yards, second down 15. I look to the sideline. He wants me to throw. Great. Threw an incomplete pass, purposely. 3rd and 8, wants me to throw again, threw another incomplete pass, because I'm going to be the punter. So now I'm punting from the goal line. Ball's on the 15-yard line, stand on the goal line. I hold my arms up and go, Mom, look at me. I'm a punter in the National Football League. How great is this? So now I get the snap, and I guarantee you people listening, have you ever had your world go into slow motion? As soon as the ball hit my hand, the roar of the crowd just became a murmur. And I'm thinking, my teammates had said, hey, Joe, kick the ball right. We're going to cover it right. I said, okay, fine, kick the ball right. I dropped the ball. It goes off my foot. I have a picture of it. If you look straight ahead and look out at about 2 o'clock, that's where the ball was. So the ball goes out on the 16-yard line. We wind up losing the game, I don't know, 40-something to 10 or something like that. But I had a 1-yard punt. Now, next year, I believe, Sean Landeta of the Giants is in the Soldier Field, almost the same place on the field. I swear he missed the ball, but they credited him with a 6-yard negative punt. So he is, in my opinion, the unofficial record holder. But I definitely hold the record for the shortest punt in the National Football League at 1 yard. So with your infinity pitch and my punt, we're be proud of big record holders, right? We did something better.
Yeah, but at least you were getting calls to be in like magazines on Wheaties box for everything else you did. See, I just got a call to get off the team.
Joe, that is confirmed, by the way. I looked that up, and right here, the worst Redskins punter of all time, Joe Theismann in the record books, 1 punt for 1 yard. So.
Well, it's more than just the Redskins, I mean, it's an NFL record, in my opinion.
Well, and to hold that for the Reds.
I'm not accepting Landeta, and he knows he missed it. I talked to Sean about this. He knows he missed it, but they still gave him a -6. How dare they?
and the Redskins lately, over the last 20 years, have had a lot of punts, so that's a good record to hold right there.
It's been a struggle. It's been a lot of quarterbacks going through, a lot of coaching changes. I think there's stability there now. I think our draft choice with Chase Young was the only choice we could have made. Terrific young man, terrific young football player. Fits into a bunch of number ones up front with Sweat and Allen and Payne, and now Chase Young. We're going to go to a 4-3 defense, which I think will make a difference for us. I'm sort of looking at the Redskins and thinking maybe this front can be impactful like the San Francisco 49er front was last year. Because those guys really, I think, set the tone for the 49ers as a football team.
Joe,
and I'm hoping our guys can do it too.
I wanted to ask you, as somebody around the organization, look, Dwayne Haskins is a guy personally, from what I've seen, and it's just my opinion, but I feel pretty confident that he's not going to go down as one of these legendary quarterbacks or win. Only time will tell. But is it fair, because we rush to judgment so quick in this country and really sometimes then think afterwards of the decisions we made, but is it fair for any quarterback, after watching Peyton Manning go through a 3-13 season, or watching so many rookies fail their first year like Troy Aikman and then go on to win 3 Super Bowls after that, is it fair to not give a quarterback another year after sort of molding him as a number 2 pick, like Haskins is going
No,
through?
I don't think it's fair to rush to judgment at all. People ask me about Dwayne. What do we know after 7 football games?
Mm-hmm.
And the Redskins signed Kyle Allen from Carolina. What do we know about the same amount of games about Kyle Allen? What do we know about Alex Smith possibly being able to come back and play football? I mean, there's a whole lot of what ifs around the quarterback position. I like the way Dwayne throws the football. I think it's important to him. He proved he's a tough guy. Now, he'll be in competition, and that's what it is. That's what new coaches bring. When Joe Gibbs took over the Redskins in 1981, I wasn't his quarterback. I was on the team. I was the starting quarterback. I was the starting quarterback 78, 79, 80. So when he got there in 81, I was, quote-unquote, the starting quarterback. But I had to earn my right to stay the starting quarterback. He was fixing to bench me at Game 6 after we lost to the San Francisco 49ers. I went to his house because being a quarterback was important to me. I drove to his house. We sat down and had a meeting. Interestingly enough, from that day, starting with the 6th game of the 1981 season, we went 8-3, 12-1, 16-3, I believe 11-5. Before I got hurt, we wound up 5-5 in '85. And it wasn't Joe Theismann by any stretch. It was the team that had been put together around me. People don't realize this. Giveaway, takeaway ratios in football, but for people out there that don't, it's how many times do you turn the ball over? How many times do you take it away from your opponents? In 1983, the Washington Redskins were plus 43 in the giveaway takeaway ratio. Look that record up and see who's even close. I'm guessing there aren't, if anybody, half of that. And that's just, so from my perspective, when you judge the quarterback position, give it some time. Very few people are like Ben Roethlisberger, where you join the Pittsburgh Steelers and they've got greatness everywhere, up front, in the backfield, at the wide receiver position. Ben just happened to step into a great situation. That doesn't happen. And I don't think it's going to happen for Jeff Burrow in Cincinnati. I like him. I mean, physically, he passes the eye test. You get excited about watching him play in the championship game and seeing what he can do. Tua, to me, I'm thrilled for him. I'm delighted he went where he went. It's going to take some time, though. And how healthy can he stay? Herbert's the same way with where he's going. The move in the draft, and we're talking draft, the one that drove me a little nuts, and I'm sure Aaron Rodgers as well, is for the Packers to trade up 4 spots to get Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love's a project.
I don't understand why they did that. I don't understand why they did.
There were a lot of wide receivers that could have helped that football team there. A lot of people don't understand it, but the one that doesn't understand it and likes it the least is the guy that's playing quarterback there.
Is there something behind the scenes with that, Joe? Do you think?
I don't think so.
But why would you not talk to? talk to him about that, at least to give him. I mean, ultimately it's not his job, and because you were a vocal guy, you went on to be on Monday Night Football and a star in movies. So I'm sure in locker rooms you had discussions. But when it comes down to it, I think somebody should have at least planned, hey, Aaron, because it just happened in Green Bay with Favre and Rodgers. But this time it's a little different to me because I don't see the Jordan Love quality, and I could be wrong. A lot of quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, we didn't see coming out of Texas Tech as the next star of the league. But I will say, Rodgers, to me, looked in tape and everything I saw a lot better than what Jordan Love gave us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different era of football. It's an entirely different era of football. And now coaches tend to talk to their star players. I mean, the guy's making $30+ million. You may as well sit and find out what he's thinking. But I think they wanted to take a quarterback. In their evaluation, they felt like he could be a guy going forward. I mean, we're probably talking 3 years down the road. Aaron's, 36? I don't see him leaving any time too early. I doubt if he'll get anything more than maybe a 1 or 2 year extension after this contract is up. Will he be a 40-year quarterback, 40-year-old quarterback playing? I don't know, but they might have felt like looking down the road, they wanted to grab the quarterback now at that spot because you didn't know who was going to be available. And the Packers don't expect, I think, to be in the top 10 or top 15. I think they expect to be at the latter, sort of towards the end of a draft. So maybe this was the chance to grab a quarterback that they felt like could be molded. I mean, Miami, Rosen a couple of years ago. Mm. They thought that was the answer. I mean, you never know what the number ones are going to look like because if you're choosing high in the draft, you probably need more than just that position. And Cincinnati, I think, is in that particular boat. Jacksonville has to find an answer down there, make sure that they can get it done. I mean, there's different teams with different philosophies. That was one that jumped out and surprised me, and I think it did you too.
Joe, I got to ask you this as somebody that has watched a lot of this movie, like from movies to TV series. I actually just saw you were in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is something that I've binged a little bit of.
I love that show, yeah.
Outside of Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, what is the most fun, whether it's a movie or series that you've been on?
The Brooklyn Nine-Nine was a ton of fun. Those guys are terrific. But Cannonball Run 2 with Burt Reynolds. I mean, the cast was incredible. Now, these are names that people may have to Google, but they're Academy Award winners. They're the sexiest man alive. They're, movie stars of yesteryear. Dom DeLuise, Burt Reynolds, Jackie Chan, Mary Lou Henner, Catherine Bach, Susan Anton, Shirley MacLaine, Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Charles Nelson Riley, Richard Kiel, who used to play Jaws and all of the guy with the metal teeth in all the Bond movies. It was a ton of fun being with Burt. I mean, I got to know him. We became very close friends. I used to go see him in Florida. We took a helicopter one day from the ranch in Florida over to Florida State to watch a practice with Bobby Bowden. Had a chance to sit with Bobby then. And, we just started. Bert said, come on, we're going to practice. I said, we're going to practice? He said, yeah, come on. So we hopped on a helicopter and flew over and watched it. I mean, listen, my life has been storied. I've been blessed in so many ways and appreciate so many things that the good Lord has given me. I've got a book that'll be released on June 16th called How to Be a Champion Every Day. Matter of fact, I just got the first copies today. It can be ordered on Amazon. It can be pre-ordered, and it talks about the things you and I have talked about. It talks about the relationship between the world of sports, the world of business, and our own lives. And lots of fun stories in there. My time at Notre Dame, how that wound up going, and my time with the Washington Redskins, and great contributors. General Powell contributed some to it, which I appreciate so much. And friends of mine, lessons I've learned. It's not a how-to book. It's a this is what I did. Maybe it'll work for you kind of book. I consider myself Joey Appleseed. I don't have all the answers. so these are some of the seeds that I'll be sowing out there. Like I said, the book is released June 16th, and I'm excited. But to answer your question, Cannonball Run 2 was just a blast. I mean, my first movie actually was with George Raft. I played his bodyguard. It was a night shoot in Los Angeles back in 1980 something, early 80s. I think we did Cannonball Run 2 in 80. 82, 83, and then I think it was 82 was when I had a chance to do that first movie. And I got bit by the bug. It was fun to be around. It was a fun world to be around. What people don't realize is they see the finished product on TV and in the theaters, and now on Netflix and Amazon, everything else. But you don't realize how hard these people work. I mean, Daniel Craig almost basically walked away from the Bond stuff because he was just beat to crap. The man was just beat up with all of the stunts and everything that he did. Now, Tom Cruise does a lot of the stunts in his Mission Impossible. And, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of late hours. Certainly the rewards are great because it gives you an opportunity to do things in your life that maybe you wouldn't normally have a chance to do. But it's not something that just you flip a switch and there it is. A ton of work and it gave me tremendous respect for actors. And I say actors in a way where I include actresses and actors, both men and women that are in this profession work hard at it to do a great job. They take a lot of pride in their work.
Joe, I'm going to say final question, or I feel like between me and you and JP, we're going to be microwaving a lasagna watching Korean baseball in a couple hours. But I do want to ask you the question because you would have been one of these guys that today we talk about the iconic names, how 99.7% of the people out there in college sports, it really doesn't relate to when they talk about brand and likeness and getting paid for it. We know the Jameses, the Johnny Footballs, the guys like what Tua and Trevor Lawrence have done, the Tebows of the world. You were that guy when you were at Notre Dame, so you would have lived in this type of life. What do you think about the NCAA and the decisions going forward about athletes getting paid for their brand?
I think to a degree they haven't given it enough thought. It's a little bit of a Pandora's box that they're opening up. Are you going to turn agents loose on campus? And who's going to pay the athlete? Is the alumni going to pay the athlete? Is the school going to pay the athlete? Is a car dealership going to pay the athlete? Where's that money going to come from? And how are you going to track that money? I've suggested this for a number of years. What they ought to do with people whom jerseys they sell, because that's really what it is. They're going to be selling your jerseys. Mm-hmm. That's where they make the money. They ought to set up the same deal that we have in professional sports. You get a percentage of the sale. If your jersey is sold, you get a percentage of the sale. Let's say Joe Burrow at LSU. If everybody bought those jerseys, you get a certain percentage. And what it does is if you still have eligibility, let's say you're a junior or a sophomore and have a great year, that goes into a trust for you. And when you leave the school, when you leave amateur athletics, that's yours. And to me, it preserves a little bit of the integrity of collegiate football. It preserves a little bit of the integrity of being an amateur, but yet you're still allowed to be able to benefit from someone else selling you or something that you wore. It just sort of made sense to me because how are you going to regulate this? And who gets it? You got Division I, Division II, Division III. This is the problem you run into when you start saying, let's pay athletes. Women's sports, men's sports. How do you state schools versus private schools? How do you accommodate all of those different questions when it comes to the economics involved? And it's much more complicated than just saying, let's pay the athlete.
I think that's yeah. I mean, you're right. I completely agree with that.
If you're doing a car deal, if you're doing a car dealership, okay, you're a quarterback and you're a senior, and like Justin Herbert, for example, was supposed to be Joe Burrow this year. Oh, he was terrific. He didn't have the year he had before, but now all of a sudden you're doing car dealership commercials and you're not playing well. I'm telling you something. You will be embarrassed. I know. Owning restaurants, I used to have to go into my restaurant, and I love going in, shaking hands with people, meeting people, all right? But if we were losing, I hated it because you're standing there, people are looking at you going, what is this loser doing here? I mean, they're 1-6, and now you still have to go there, and you still have to see this. I will tell you one real quick, sort of funny story. Drew Pearson, who was my teammate in high school and should be in the Hall of Fame. There's a travesty of justice right there. Mm-hmm. The only player on the All-Decade team from 1970 that is not in the Hall of Fame. And he's a Cowboy, which surprises you.
He was one of the historic 88s with all the
yes. So we're in Super Bowl 17, and I just thrown an interception. They're coming back from commercial, and in the stadium, they play this PSA that Drew and I did about drunk driving. Hey, hi, this is Joe. So here you hear it over the PA. I just throw an interception. Now it's, hi, I'm Joe Theismann. I'm Drew Pearson. Be sure to be very responsible when you drink and drive. And I'm going, oh, Christ, because you have picked the worst time to play this thing. So I don't know if people have given it the ample thought. I know the state of California just says do it. The state of California should be its own country. Things are a little nutsy out there. But that, I believe that an athlete, that kids should have an opportunity to be able to benefit, but where do you draw the line and who pays them?
Well, you could have cashed in on
have to be answered.
After that 1-yard punt on things with like bunions and things like that. You could have really cashed in after doing a
I could have
PSA.
done anything that requires 1 yard. I could have done yardsticks.
Are you having discomfort in your feet?
Yes. Here, try my 1 yard punt. Are you having trouble measuring something? Use my 1 yard stick. No, it was. What are you talking about? What were the one pitch?
Listen, if we're getting in a Chad Berliante versus Joe Theismann debate, I'm already leaving the room. All right, so we're not going to start this here. By the way, glad for him, a quick Q&A on this one. Glad for him, or whoops, you put a couple extra zeros when Tony Romo, because you were in the same booth as a Monday Night Football guy right there as a quarterback that people respected in there. When you saw what they were offering, good for Tony, or what's happened to broadcasting in the booth?
Good for Tony. Listen, I am 100% a firm believer that anything and everything you could get in this life, good for you.
Yeah.
Because, I hear guys that played when I played say, oh, man, these kids are making so much money. We created the game. The game wouldn't be the same. Hey, good for the kids. Patrick Mahomes gets $40,000. Good for him. Dak Prescott is not worth $34 million. And if that was on the table, he should jump on it in a heartbeat. He wants more. I don't understand that. Aaron Rodgers, his numbers. Tom Brady, his numbers. Everybody that has the opportunity to earn every penny they can. And I would not begrudge anybody anything. Tony happens to be in a profession where there aren't a lot of them that are very good. He is in demand. People want him. He's an educator about the game. I enjoy listening to him. I think in the beginning, he sort of guessed a little bit, which we all do. I mean, you have to learn how to say things without stepping on your partner and sort of informing people about what the game's about. My role, I always looked at in television. 23 years I was in television. I basically wanted to be a teacher. I wanted people at the end of a broadcast with Mike and Paul and I, and when I worked with Mike Tirico and Tony Kornheiser, when that game was over, I wanted people to turn to a friend or in a bar and say, you know something? I learned something today about football that I didn't know. That was my approach to every game that I did. What can I relay? What can I relay to people and say, okay, this is something that you don't see every day, or if you look at this, maybe it helps you enhance the viewing aspects of the game. So I wanted to be a teacher, and I felt like that's the way I tried to do it. And I'm happy for Tony. I hope he gets whatever he can get. Good for him.
Yeah, you were, and I'm not just saying this because we always speak. Look, I just also brought up your 1 yard punt, so I'm not going down this path on. But I also I wanted to say on behalf of I know JP as well because we've talked about this. But Monday night, I mean, we grew up as sports fans. We didn't get a chance, as only a few are blessed with the talent that you and other people that make the NFL can. But then in the Monday Night Football booth, I mean, that's it. I mean, everybody stops what you're doing. Monday Night Football was the mecca, and getting to watch you and Al and Dan and all the guys up there, it was fun. So I learned a ton in the booth before all the stories of Joe Buck and all these guys, you guys in Monday Night Football. It was the best booth that I remember. A group of opinions, and it was a lot of fun. The Booger McFarland sidecart thing needs to go. I don't know what that's.
Well, you don't know. Sunday Night Football. I think Chris and Al do a terrific job, and I enjoy Joe and Troy, and Tony and Jim. I mean, Jim's like incredible. Jim Nance and Mike Tirico are two play-by-play guys that they could do Korean baseball, and you would understand it and make it very enjoyable. I mean, they're just they're that talented when it comes to being able to do every sport. I mean, I kid Mike Tirico all the time. You know, Michael does all kinds of sports. I mean, he could do basketball on a Monday, football on a Tuesday, golf on a Wednesday, hockey on a Thursday, and you wouldn't know that he wasn't an expert in every area. That's how talented he was, and is.
Well, Joe, it's been an honor to get a chance to catch up. I know, like we said, you start catching up on so many things, especially right now without sports actually playing. Just a lot of time to talk about the NFL draft and so many different things going on. But we do have to take I believe I'm getting the word on the 5:15 break, so I'm going to go ahead and thank you again for everything that you've done, and we'll continue to have an opportunity to enjoy these moments when we get to talk to you. So be safe, and thank you for joining us over in Destin.
Thank you. You betcha. We'll do it again.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
Bye-bye.
Joe Theismann right there, legendary quarterback. And, yeah, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back for more. 5:15 right now. 23 minutes off. It was worth it. Coming back for more.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin, bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
An auto policy from State Farm gets you collision coverage. And this radio ad from State Farm gets you coverage of this beloved 90s hit.
I hit a car. I hit a car. I hit a car. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. My agent's gonna help me.
For more coverage, visit statefarm.com.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin, bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Thanks again to Joe Theismann. Great interview. Having an opportunity to talk to him. He's, when it comes to well-rounded, not just on the football field, but everything. We always talk about Peyton Manning. Will he be a broadcaster, an owner? The Tony Romos of the world, a lot of people that get in. And, involved after the game. Joe was that guy. I mean, if it wasn't for that injury, a career what could have been kind of moment. We talked about that on the show yesterday. Injuries that led to the possibility of a career going to that next level. Now, Joe still had an incredible career and had an opportunity to watch him play. At Notre Dame, though, he was that guy. He was the Jameis, let's on the field, focus, everybody, on the field. But the Jameis, the Tim Tebow's, the Johnny Manziel's, the ones that had that brand. And he brought up Joe Burrow. With the timing of Tiger King and Joe Exotic, he could have cashed in $1 billion during this quarantine.
Or maybe they were him.
He would have.
The Jameses were the Joe Theismann.
Let's keep Jameis's name off it. We both have used that now. And
that's what I'm saying is
Joe's
better.
Joe's a good man, bro. Be like, all right, you know what?
What I'm saying is Joe started it. See? Yeah. So they tried to follow him.
Yeah.
So
he's probably
don't put his name and Jameis Winston in the same. No.
He didn't continue, but I bet he's really ticked about that shoulder injury. I met Joe through Rob Strano of the Golf Kingdom. Does an incredible job. One of the best teachers in the world. And he's the only teacher that I know that teaches deaf children and goes to all the camps. Just an amazing man and lucky to call a friend. And Rob, with the Golf Kingdom show, you can hear it 10 and 10 each and every Wednesday there on Blab TV and replayed throughout. But you'll get tips that you can't get from anywhere else. And Rob called me and said, hey, Joe needs to cut some stuff for the studio in Washington for the Redskins. And he goes, do you mind him stopping by your studio? I know you guys have a studio at ESPN they use. And I'm like, do I mind? Tell him to pick up 3 taquitos and we'll call it a deal. No, I did not. But Joe was stopped by and we ended up saying, hey, you know what, can we do like a 15-minute interview? And an hour and a half later, we were sitting there. And just lucky to have him. And if you look at, I'm not going to get involved, and I don't ask him. The number one thing that usually comes up is people want to, the Jim Gray questions. What happened to your leg? You talked to LT? I'm not going to get into that. He's heard that so many times. He knows that by now. We know that by now. And I would have liked to get into more on Alex Smith, but we did the 23 minutes we had to get in that and talk about the things like the punts and the important things. But just a class act and lucky to have a guy like Joe. But, I know that he's is a guy that dealt the timing of both him and Alex Smith's injuries, if you look at it, the exact same date. I think it was November 21st on both, or November 28th. The score was the same of the game. The injury was because the Pro Bowl left tackle was out. The actual injury to the fibula and the tibia were exactly the same. And he also got, at that point, I mean, everything about it across the board was almost eerie the same in that. But, like we said, thoughts go out to Alex that he still has a leg. I mean, I'm not saying that's a joke. Glad he still has a leg. From local news, I know we got to get to a break here and make up a couple breaks here, but I want to talk right now, what's going on across the bridge on the other side right there and right by the Garcon Point Bridge. Any updates on, I know they've closed down I-10 in that area right there, Milton, Santa Rosa County.
They've evacuated everybody south of I-10 right now.
And, Yellow River Marsh Preserve, right? Yeah, people know the area where you don't pay the toll.
Do you know,
yeah.
you know that?
I just looked that up. Okay. I had no clue. No. I'm not Smokey the Bear. I'm not Smokey.
I know that, of course, reading a lot of stories, all the RV parks and people like that, they said, you can get out, but you can't get back in. They were having problems. People, pets and things like that, they left to go get something. They come back, or they were at work, and they couldn't get back. And luckily, some people were still there trying to get pets and things out of there. It happened with a prescribed burn that got out of control. Today.
Prescribed burn. You know that, right?
Well, today it was not good because the humidity dropped into the teens, and that's not necessarily what they expected with a cold front that moved through, and the temperature didn't really drop, but the humidity did. So you have warm weather, you have almost no humidity, so there's no moisture, and then you've got the winds that picked up today, which is going to it's a recipe for a disaster. You already had a no burn warning out there, but you're talking about a burn that was already going on that they were trying to contain, and it's just so tough. And shout out to the first responders and stuff out there as well. The firefighters, I know they had bulldozers out there. A bunch of firefighters were out there as well. They had helicopters and planes flying over, dropping water, things like that, trying to contain this. For everybody out there, we hope they're safe. We hope that they can get this contained before people lose their homes. And, of course, hopefully nobody loses their life. Hopefully everybody's out. So That's all I got right now. I just know that they said they'll hope to try to contain it by maybe Friday, but it's going to be tough right now.
Good. We'll keep an eye on it. Anything we hear, luckily right downstairs, News Radio 92.3. Got folks on Cat Country working on it too. So we have all the updates right here while it happens live, and we'll keep you guys posted as well. Coming back for more, it's a Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
Pros. Lowe's wants to help you keep working. That's why we're open for pro business hours 6 to 7 a.m. Monday through Saturday. You'll find the quantities you expect with dedicated pro associates and loaders to help you get what you need fast and load you up curbside. Now, more than ever, we know you need to win every single bid. You can count on Lowe's for special values on pro-trusted brands and savings when you buy in bulk. Save yourself a trip by shopping Lowe'sForPros.com, where we can ship thousands of items to your doorstep or to the job site. Lowe's is open and pro-ready.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
There may be no games, no practices,
no high fives.
But we're all still part of a team.
And we all have a role to play.
Right now, that means keeping our distance.
But still checking on each other.
Helping the most vulnerable.
And supporting our heroes.
That are keeping us safe.
Sports may be paused.
But the best parts are needed now more than ever.
So let's all do our part
to help our team.
Right now.
#OneTeamESPN.
This is Davis Allen from Sports Call with Davis and Justin. You're listening to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
This is the Hillsborough County famous Tampatoni, I believe, right here. Ybor City representing. Keep juking right there. Yeah. They're getting down to this a little more than they were when Ryan Fitzpatrick and Jameis. Now, Tom Brady out there. I was going to ask, that would have been one of the other questions I was going to ask about Tom Brady and the age. But you know what? Nobody really needs to answer any questions on Tom Brady. He's done that for his own career.
We can talk about him.
Yeah.
I know you're itching to talk about him a little bit.
After the break, right? We're coming back. But I do want to go ahead and give a couple headlines before, at least get some substance in here before we have to take the other break here. Mike Tyson, Iron Mike, offered a cool mill to fight some guy that looks like he's out of a Holland, one of those Hollister ads. But he was a rugby player, 34-year-old Sonny Bill Williams. Sounds like more of a name right now. That we know some relatives in the Sonny Bill Williams. Oh, Sonny Bill Williams from New Zealand right there. But the guy, they go with a picture of Tyson in a Clippers shirt, all buff. Look, Clippers not a bad look these days. Couple back in the 90s was Sterling. Get him out of here. Billy Crystal on the sideline. Get him out of here. But now shows some strength out there. Doc and Kawhi and the guys, PG-13. Now you see this guy, though, who's a rugby player, 34, probably in good shape. I'm sure comparable in size. And they got him in like a picture with a beanie. Only thing I can say is bravo. He's already done his research. The beanie covered his ears. So he's protected. He was already protected in the Mike Tyson fight. It's important right there. He's learning. Holyfield must have texted him. But I will say,
if you say so.
I can't hear you. What are you saying? Evander, use your other ear. Oh, sorry. Got you on speakerphone. That was wrong. No, Sonny, though, he's going to get his, knocked in. I'm sure. We watched Roy Jones Jr. fight at the age of 50 in these fights, and he went to Russia, fought a couple of those fights, but I don't see this guy. I could be off, but I was watching not the picture of Mike, but the actual physical boxing of Mike and how fast he was moving in the videos, in the workout training. He's cut down about 15 lbs of now, and he's way better shape. Yeah, I wouldn't mess with Mike Tyson at all. ever. But any chance for this guy? Is he going to get better odds than Buster at 50-1?
No, probably not.
Are you gonna? I'll watch.
Yeah,
I hope they
of
get
course.
this thing out here.
Well,
Yeah,
it didn't take much for us to watch now. But
somebody is banking if they have this fight soon off $1 million. Think about it. Every person and their mama is going to want to watch Mike Tyson fight again, especially with nothing.
Well,
we stopped to
mothers
watch.
out of
We
this.
stopped to watch KBO fight. I mean KBO baseball right now at 1 a.m. You don't think the world will, with no sports going on? Heck, I watched a monkey play ping pong in Belarus. That's
You
kids
bet
laugh.
on a monkey.
I did bet on that.
Yes.
It's live sports, live interaction right there. But this will get, that people will be all over this. The money they can do with this on pay-per-view, get it out of there. If smart,
Or
I'd
get it in here.
ESPN get the rights like they did with WrestleMania and just go ahead and load in on the commercials. But for $1 million, for how much money? I'm sure he's going to ask for a percentage of the pay cut. Of course, in that situation. I would. Every household that has a TV will be watching it. We're coming back for more Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola and Blab TV.
Though we're apart these days, we're sharing more. So, at Geico, we'd like to say thanks. Thanks for sharing your savage dance moves. Thanks for sharing your DIY haircut fails. Thanks for sharing your inner lip sync star. Now, it's our turn to share with the Geico Give Back, a 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies for current and new customers. Because we're committed for the long haul, the 15% credit lasts your full policy term. Visit geico.com/giveback for more info and eligibility.
I'm Mina Kimes, host of ESPN Daily. Each morning, we bring you a deep dive into a single story from one of ESPN's hundreds of reporters. It's the best of ESPN Daily. ESPN Daily is presented by Marathon. Now, more than ever, we have to look out for each other and count on each other. Marathon wants you to know that you can count on them for high-quality, top-tier gas. Wherever you need to go, the people at Marathon are behind you all the way. Marathon, fueling the American spirit.
I thought I was too old.
I thought I was too young.
I didn't think I had what it takes.
How'd I find the time?
I went into a music store and tried some percussion.
Keyboard, guitar,
bass.
ukulele.
And before I knew it,
I could actually play a song.
why make excuses when you can make music? Just play. This message brought to you by the NAM Foundation.
It's probably going to be a hot summer. Is your air conditioning system ready? Air Care Wizard is here to help. Whether you need routine maintenance before the season really kicks in, or if you need to replace your system, they also install the Roam Halo Induct Air Purifiers, which uses ultraviolet lights and peroxide to help keep the air in your home clean and to help eliminate viruses. Call Air Care Wizard today, 471-9400. At Air Care Wizard, they care about your air.
Football season never ends on Talk Football with Coach K.
Stidham is tearing it up at Anema. He may well be the incumbent to Tom Brady there.
Former head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K brings his expertise as he breaks down the game, the players, the coaches, and the front office. Plus, high-profile interviews from the biggest names in football. Talk Football with Coach K every weekday from noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19.
The greatest name in sports radio is ESPN. Wherever you have Alexa, you can hear ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Just say,
Alexa, enable ESPN Pensacola 1330 skill.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
I pull up underlay, R.B. to Nate, dog. I had to regulate.
Public service announcement. Why am I risking man? Why risk, man?
Welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. By the way, if you live in Tennessee at any time, warn your people out there, not of COVID-19. You should know that by now. But it is illegal to share Netflix password. You can go to jail for it. I just saw that. Some lady did trying to get her barber shop open. You saw that, by the way. Which did you see that?
Did you say warn the people in Tennessee?
Tennessee right now. Share a Netflix password. I'm looking at it right now.
Like I mean, not.
You're like I.
Not moving on with that conversation.
Two people in Gatlinburg that need to get on that now on my password.
I mean, is there a reward?
I wonder if are there accomplices? Because I know a couple that I might need to make some calls.
I mean, is that a rule in Florida too?
No, just Tennessee.
Just Tennessee.
Yeah.
All right. Wonder who pissed off Netflix.
Hawaii, you can't have more than one alcoholic drink in front of you. But
you can have it to the side.
But it's free to get laid immediately when you get off a plane.
Yeah, but you in front of you though.
With flowers.
See beside you, behind you, you could have.
That's true.
Everywhere.
That makes sense. That makes
only
sense.
One in front.
Alabama, bear wrestling matches are prohibited. That should be. I mean, you could see a guy doing that in like the streets of somewhere after a couple cocktails in the Iron Bowl, but it's highly unlikely to happen. But it's prohibited. I hope that would be normal. I hope if you are about to wrestle a bear, you're on your own, Haas. No cop's going to come in, try to tase that bear. That'll be a sun bear. Looking at in Boulder, Colorado, you can't taunt a police officer. That should be common sense. Wyoming, it's illegal to use a firearm on a fish. That also, well, you can social distance. I don't think anybody would hear that. Bear, you know what's in the woods?
If you shoot a fish and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Oh, yeah. Makes yeah. Here's one, Maryland. This should go to some people anyway. Sleeveless shirts are banned in public. No gun shows, lady. You know that guy that's been in bad shape and he's finally worked out and dropped like 40 lbs? You know he's going to get a couple of those. Living on the beach.
He'll take that citation.
Maryland. Apparently. Get some good crab. Good Dungeness, but don't expect a gun show. We're coming back for more.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the Sports Drive, well, we'll recap our interview with Joe Theismann, legendary quarterback, and we'll talk a little about, Korean baseball is happening, NFL, and more. Tua making a smart decision, not asking someone with a retired jersey to take his number 13.
Has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, and it's caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Baldwin beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
Welcome back. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. 850-623-1330 is the number to be part of the show. What are we going, 50-50? Phone's working?
Call and find out, I reckon.
Shot in the dark right there. Yeah, call. Give us a call. Test the waters. Like, what's on your mind? Nothing? You just told me to call. You just told me I don't know.
All right, it works. Bye.
All right, there you go. Maybe a call with an update of what's happening. That's some good news over there.
I just found out.
If you're calling from the area, get out of there unless you work for the media area.
Just found out Ben Lively plays for the Samsung Lions in the Korean Baseball League.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Dinos beat them yesterday. Again, 2-0.
Pride of UCF, baby.
Mo Chang-min didn't do very well.
He was a UCF pitcher. A good one.
Well, I know.
A good one.
I played ball with him growing up here.
Okay. He had a lively fastball. He did.
Little lively, yeah.
I thought,
I always thought he made a poor decision going to UCF.
He's enough of that, but I think he's the epitome too of how hard it is to crack a Major League Baseball roster consistently. Because when he was in Kansas City, and even when he got traded to the Phillies, and those aren't two pitching staffs that are just like you're never going to. There's some of them like Oakland back in the day when you had Barry Zito, Mark Mulder, Tim Hudson. Like, I don't care. You could throw 96 out of – you're not going to crack that staff. They're going to – the Braves, I mean, the ideal with Glavine, Maddox, Smoltz, Avery back in the day, those guys weren't getting cracked. Then Smoltz moves to the bullpen as a closer. You got guys like Danny Nagel and Mike Hampton where he got paid a ton to not really do much. But I will say, though, that there are a lot of guys that look at him and his ERA, and he was like a 3.95 guy out there for Kansas City. It looked like he had an opportunity. The Reds picked him up. He had a couple games down here at the Wahoo Stadium where he's pitching within our organization. But I think it's good for him to go over to Korea. And this isn't like fatherly advice. Don't listen. I'm just saying.
Dad.
I think from a baseball standpoint.
Well, he's not in his 30s, so he doesn't understand how life is. Me and Ben
from one UCF night to another here. You listen up. Josh Sitton, everybody out there. No, none of you need to take my advice. But Ben Lively is the guy, though, that can go over there. He can go up against pros, and he can feel like he's pitching at the highest level for Korean baseball. I mean, and what I mean by that is when you're in Double-A or Single-A, you can go out there and wheel and deal. We've seen some guys down here. Tyler Mahle, some of those guys like that. We watched Robert Stevenson. There was a lot of pitchers we had that went out there, he pitched a perfect game. And then the next day,
guess we're getting
I think that's my burner phone, actually, on the other side. It is. It really is on the other side. Look at that. Listen, and all jokes aside, this is a true phone I used, so let's not get any ideas.
You're the one calling it the burner phone.
It's a joke. I'm not that cool to have that, or I don't have any people that I would need to call on that.
You seem nervous. Is it?
Well, I got an Amber Alert going on in the middle of the studio, and I already turned that off on my regular phone.
It's an Amber Alert.
That's what it is. Oh, all that beeping.
That's Big Mo. Big Mo's trying to get a hold of you.
Yep, Cinnamon's lighting the grill at 7. That's what it's here. Hey, all this is false, by the way.
Why?
I want to make that clear.
When you look at mykbostats.com for the Korean base, which is like
where a kid can be a kid, right?
No.
Oh, that's
not at all.
Okay.
That's not at all what I was trying to get to. But all the Americans, all it shows is their last name, where the Koreans, I guess, it shows their complete name. What's up with that?
You have to earn the right to have that.
It's okay.
What about the soccer players in other countries that have their first name or their nickname, like Kaká or one of those guys on the jersey? But like we did that for a week. Remember Major League Baseball went like on the back of the jersey?
Yeah, well, it was that one day. Everybody got their or it was the weekend.
Yeah.
The weekend, everybody got their nicknames put on the back.
Yeah. Like Faux Rizzo on the back and things like that. But no, the couple guys had some pretty cool ones.
I'm going to look that up.
I liked Shane Bieber's. It just said Justin on the back of his. But some of them were fun. Biebs, things like that. But others, not so much. But that was fun for a week. But a lot of these guys in soccer, that's how you know them. Pele. I have zero clue. And once again, we hold ourselves pretty prideful on sports stats. Can you confirm or deny even a shot, even if it was multiple choice, like A through D, of what Pele's last name was?
Nope.
I don't even know if you Google Pele, they'll show a last name. I don't know. Sure, he has an ID somewhere.
Oh, Big Fudge. Jake Marisnik last year.
Okay, Edson Arantes. I bet if somebody walked up and like, one of the best all-time leading scorer, soccer's legend, worth $110 million. You know him. Edson Arantes. I think he was on my fantasy team. Isn't he 21? He's that minor league pitcher for the A's. Is that? No, that's Pele right there. Just never know.
Shane Bieber's was not Justin.
What was it? It was Biebs, right?
It was not Justin. Like not Justin.
Not Justin.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I remember because he cost me a fantasy league that week. I had to stare at that. He got rocked by the Tigers or something. But I want to say when it comes down to the nicknames, it's baseball. I did not stay up for the 4:30 game last night. Like, even me, I have a limit.
I watched it again this afternoon.
Most people are like, shouldn't you be waking up for that game, son? Set your alarm. No. You don't understand my life. But I have to say, it was my Doos and Bears, too. It's the Doos and Bears, and I still didn't watch them. Did they win last night?
They did.
They did win? Okay.
5-2.
Well, there we go.
No,
I'm undefeated.
Jen Hayek, no, for my NC
Quit while you're
Dinos.
ahead with the names, by the way. I would just
did
go
a great job. 2 for 3 right there with a bomb and 2 RBIs.
You're going down a path that's only going to lead to trouble here. So
listen,
continue. No, please elaborate on the other players. Right
I put it on my on the sports break. I did it for your Doos and Bears.
Yeah.
Can't remember what his name was, but I went after it. I gave it a shot.
Going to let everybody know a news alert here. Those aren't live, so we could have had a couple takes there. I just want to make that sure.
Well, yeah, I agree. No, but Mo Chang Min, a big
They're
superstar.
daily refreshed. I want to make sure that
they are. Yes.
Like all of my promos, but that's we're making it clear here that
leaving that alone. Let you
plead the fifth on that.
Yeah, but I know everybody wants to know how Mo Chang Min did yesterday.
Yes,
he went 0 for 4. It was unfortunate. He had a tough game. Look, Lively struck him out a couple times. All right, Lively did a good job.
So why is it unfortunate? That was just a slam right in the face of all of our faithful Gulf Breeze in Pensacola. Shouldn't we be cheering for that?
Because Facebook told me that I'm an NC Dino fan.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
You're a Doos and Bears fan.
You're rooting for a guy to hit Ben Lively, the one American. Not only that, the one guy from here, literally from our own backyard, that we're cheering, and you're rooting for the guy named Ho Chang Min. So
Mo Chang Min.
Oh, Mo Chang Min. Sorry.
Kidding me.
Look,
disgraceful.
As more and more things move in, somebody said they need to test the waters. Taiwan actually has fans in the stands. Like, they're going all out. So they're not Saturdays. Saturdays, apparently, that's when the Taiwan games are. And Taiwanese baseball. And they're playing all out. Like, they're not messing around. They got fans out there ready to go.
Roll Tide.
Apparently, after SARS, I mean, not to get too political here, or, we don't need a lesson. You go to different news stories for this. Just click Facebook these days and get enough. Yeah, exactly. But Taiwan was way ahead of the game because they got hit bad by SARS back about 10 years ago, and this, like, they were not having any of it this time. Like, anybody trying to fly over, like, not so fast, shut down anything. Like, cell phones, people trying to leave their house, and, like, get back in. The rules are a little different. People are like, America's not the same these days. Go to another country and then come back for a week, and then that would be a reality TV show. I'd love that. Because, like, people are upset that over little things that are privileged. I mean, our privileges over here, though, this was different. We're going through different times right now. But before coronavirus, there was nothing in my 35 years that somebody couldn't have the freedom to do unless you're arrested or you're put on parole, which you lost that freedom. But at the same time,
sleeves in Maryland.
Yeah, exactly. Cut off sleeves. Or the lady that apparently psychic readings in Pennsylvania. Guy walks outside his house.
Don't do it.
Bethany, I reckon it's going to be a nice day outside. Gets tased. How do you know that?
How do you know that?
Are you a psychic?
Get
him on the floor. I'm just making a statement, bro. I've got kids. Dad, you shouldn't have done it, man. It's supposed to rain anyway. Look, go to other places, and they were taking cell phones. They were tracking people leaving their home with cell phones, and the folks in Taiwan would, like, run them down and put them in jail or take them back somewhere. One of those movies. What happened to Jimbo? But that's what was going on, and now they got baseball going on. I'm just not putting two together, but they've got baseball with fans right now going on in Taiwan.
To update what we were talking about earlier with
the that's what we were talking about, right?
No, that's not what we're talking about. The evacuation right there south of I-10 to Garcon Point Bridge, they did now open a shelter in Milton.
Okay.
For people, and they're recommending please don't even try to go back.
This is much more vital, updated news in Taiwan baseball.
You're not going to get back in regardless of whatever it is. They're not letting anybody in right now, and they opened up the shelter. So in Milton, I'll get you where it's exactly going to be. But Gulf Power's already shut off the power basically in all that area anyway. So there's going to be a shelter in Milton. I don't see where it's at right this second, but
And that's for the safety of the people working.
The Milton Community Center. Okay. So
make that clear, too, with the power. That's for the people. There's a ton of people working on this. And when a guy's got a huge hose and he's spraying it into power lines and other things, that's for the safety of everybody around there. We want to make that clear as well. They're not just like, you got a brush fire? Well, now we're turning off your power. Just that day, right? Probably had a busted tire, too. Nobody's trying to do that. They're just doing that. You should have already put that together, but they're shutting off the power.
Just for those that don't understand. There you go. It's but this is it's on the Weather Channel. It's become national news at this point. It's, of course, very serious. Luckily, I know it's terrible for the people that live there, but there's not a ton of people that live there. So it wasn't a highly populated, like some other areas. Now, I don't want that to sound rude, but it is what it is.
Nobody's paying that $5 toll.
I mean, there's a couple RV parks there. There's houses and of course, residences there, but not as many as like the city and places like that. So luckily, it's went that way, not the other way. But like I said, if you're south of I-10, Garcon Point area, don't even try to go back. You're not going to be able to anyway. They don't care what your story is at this point. So if you know anybody that's around that area, give them a phone call. I'm sure they already know what's up. Just check on them. But they did open a shelter at the Milton Community Center. So.
Yeah, go to News Radio 92.3 and keep posted. Everybody in the newsroom down there does an amazing job. Mark and Cheryl and all the folks out there, Reese and Joe and the folks out there are working. Joe's moved himself into doing more important things. We're up here talking Taiwanese baseball, and he's checking in on fires.
Oh, I mean, it's not. There's not a whole lot more important than Mo Chang Min, but you know what? This is pretty.
I think
important.
I made my point. He made the point for you, Joe. But looking right now, I see right. The good news is they're pushing the fire at this point to the point of let's not have it spread north because everywhere else is water. I mean, at that point, that's a good thing. You didn't have to go to school for that one. So the good news is pretty much.
Does the fire have to pay the toll?
I hope. I have no clue about this, but I would hope for humanity's sake, after everything, that they are not making people pay that toll to get off the. I would hope that.
Well,
I'm sure that was the first.
They're gone anyway, regardless. People have been they evacuated that area a long time ago.
Yeah, but the E-Pass still can rack it up. Maybe what if you're making like 4 or 5 trips, trying to help out family members?
I don't know if
hit with $45 in tolls, making 9 trips. I don't think so, my
friend.
They
may have made you go north anyway. So.
Hopefully today that is not on your agenda. There are other things like $1 million homes and things that are more important. But I will say, lives, number one. Let me put that. It's a good way to put things in order right there. Just directly go to the $1 million homes. But right now, currently, because of the timing and because of it wasn't one of these arsons, it looks like this is something where most people should have been able to get out. I mean,
because like I said, it was a prescribed burn, which going where I'm from, you have to have prescribed burns regardless because of build
That's
up
how I was raised
in forests and everything like that. And people that have hunting clubs and things like that, you understand, you have to burn these things down because it gets too thick. That way things can grow again and all this. So it wasn't just an arsonist, obviously, like you said, but. It was a prescribed burn that got out of control by a contractor, and like I said, the weather changed a little bit. There's basically no humidity right now, which is not good news when you mix that with the wind and the heat already. It's very dry. Hopefully Friday there'll be a little rain, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a lot, but they're trying to get it contained by Friday. They had it 40% contained up to this morning, and like I said, with all the conditions, it was just prime for it to spread, and unfortunately it has spread. So, like I said, we hope everybody's doing okay. I know it doesn't matter if it affects 1 million people or one person. It still affects somebody, and it's still unfortunate. But this has made national news now, and if you're around that area, I know they shut down part of the interstate. They've shut down all that area anyway. You're not going to be able to get there. But if you know somebody that's around that area, call them and check up on them.
Yeah. It's right over. We live right there. You know exactly where we live. I don't need to give our exact address.
I hope I remember.
After the comments I've made at some SEC teams, I'm gonna pass on this, but not to. I mean, we could go right over there and look right across, and it's pretty much across the water.
Yeah, you'd be able to see the smoke.
I'm not going to be that guy to get binoculars and stare at people with the eye. Like if I had that much energy to do that and not here, I would be trying to do what I could to help. But if you're out there listening, JP's got a nice cozy place. 850-623-1330 is the number. 65. Does it matter right now? I'm not sure if they're working. Looking at the Clowney Seahawk reunion, not likely. Where would you put Jadeveon Clowney's career? Because he's still a solid player. I mean, some people there are number 1 picks that talent-wise you just I don't know where they were going with this. Tyson Jackson from LSU was solid, but then he got drafted by the Chiefs and just wasn't that good. I mean, I watched a couple. He was okay, but he was I think the number 3 pick in the draft. This was about a decade and a half ago. But there are some guys you watch and they just don't. Jamarcus Russell wasn't a number 1 pick. Jadeveon Clowney still has the athletic talent. He's been hurt. He hasn't been in the right situation. He doesn't always play every snap. It's just been up and down. But I would still say that he's an above average, for sure, defensive end in the NFL. He just wants the money like the kind of guys that he's not worth paying.
Not worth the money.
No.
I think he's overrated. I mean, that doesn't mean he's not good. Now, understand when I say this that, like you were talking about, he came out and was supposed to be just phenomenal.
He's looking for $21 million per year.
Well, he dropped it to 17.
Oh, okay. Discount. Tough times right now.
Well, I think he understands he's not going to get that money anyway. And even
Shouldn't
then,
get 17
he's still not going to get 17.
No.
The Titans are a team that's in the hunt for him, and the Titans aren't going to spend that kind of money. Now, remember, the Titans also got rid of Jarrell Casey, which surprised me a little bit because of how good Casey was, and you weren't spending a ton of money to get him.
No.
So, but you need an edge rusher. Now, they drafted a couple guys. They have some young guys, but not a guy. I like to have.
So you struck out with Mighty Casey. That's what.
Well,
reverse stories here.
Different sport, but yeah.
Any dig I can get at your team.
I know.
That was the whole point of that.
Well, your dynasty's over anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That's true.
Dig all you want.
Last one to talk, incumbent.
But no, I can't imagine a team paying him.
I think I'm wearing Red Sox gear.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, cheaters. But no, I can't imagine a team going to pay him any kind of money like that. Now, we'll see. This could be a perfect opportunity. I don't know. I really don't know what team is going to give him that. I don't see him going back to Seattle. I think he's kind of not really burned bridges, but for the money that he was asking there. And Seattle's this type of team. We know this with Pete Carroll. He'll move on in a heartbeat. He doesn't care. He doesn't have to have superstars. Whether you like Pete Carroll or you don't, he continues to win with guys that are average, mediocre, and they continue with Russell Wilson. That's the cog, the important cog in all this is Russell Wilson. That team continues to win out there. If Jadeveon Clowney was smart, he'd go back to Seattle. That's his best opportunity.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I just think he's a little overrated. I think he's. You know what? It's like Joe Theismann said. Not a guy that can go out and get money. Go get your money. May not be worth it, but you know what? If you can go get it, by all means, go get it.
Looking at Drew Brees, he's a guy that obviously, as a human being, he's one of the best people ever in sports. I mean, what he did, given $5 million after early in the game when Louisiana was dealing with a lot right after Mardi Gras and the situation with their numbers going quickly on the rise, he donated $5 million. And Drew's a person that he doesn't just live in New Orleans. He invests in the city. He's part of so many different local establishments, and a guy that it just always is surprising people. Well, today he decided to jump on Skype and surprise a kid, that Texas high school quarterback who is the most Texas name you'll ever get. When I say this, I mean, if you said, where is this guy from? I didn't even have to say Texas. Calder Hodge, who plays football, he had both legs amputated above the knee, and when he was young. And Drew called him, welcome to the brotherhood, man. He said, I can't wait to watch you play. I'm going to keep track of you, and I better be sent some videos of your training. So, just surprise the guy after a double amputee player out there who's now 15 years old, played junior varsity last year, and hopes to make the team. Just a good story of Drew doing something great again. I mean, did it take all the time in the world? Did it change everybody's Wednesday? No, but that's just the kind of guy Drew Brees is. And, when all is said and done, very few people will be remembered as legendary people on and off the field. But Drew Brees is for sure one of those people. And his legacy will grow 20, 30, 40 years after what happened at Hurricane Katrina, and for what not just the Super Bowl, but how they rallied. People months before that had beds upon beds with water leaks so they could survive, where you had hundreds of thousands of people jammed into the Superdome so they could have somewhere of shelter during that time. And Drew comes around and wins that Super Bowl as part of it. Tracy Porter back to the house. Who Dat Nation's been waiting for that, that moment since then. But Drew, class act, another Drew Brees type moment here today.
You know how I feel about people with high character, and it's something that I've had college coaches, that it was one of the things they talked about is, listen, not everybody's going to be this type of person, and it's more about what you do off the field. Now, of course, your play on the field is very important.
Mm-hmm.
For a guy like Drew Brees, what he's been able to do on the field is great, but it's what you do off the field that lasts a lifetime, that touches a lot of people, helping other people the way he does, investing, like you said, in New Orleans. And that wasn't his home. Remember that. This is not where he grew up. This is the team he played for, and he made it his home. Him and his wife have done.
Yes.
Their families have done such a great job, and New Orleans has been hit hard multiple times, whether it's hurricanes, the virus, a lot of things going on. New Orleans is a melting pot of all kinds of cultures.
Yep.
And everybody that's been there, you know what? It's a fun place to go, but it's crazy. It's something. Anytime you've been to New Orleans, you always remember it, just because there's always a different experience each time. And for guys like Drew Brees and guys, when you look at like Peyton Manning's and guys like that you don't hear about them off the field unless it's something good. They're not a guy that's going to create a lot of controversy and things like that. I love those guys. I do. I love seeing guys, NFL players, and everybody in general. Even Cam. Cam has his charities that he has in Charlotte and things like that. All those guys. I think that's awesome, because that's something that means more to somebody than you winning some games. I know we all like a winner. For Tom Brady and guys like that, they continue to win. They have all these championships. But what you do off the field, how you affect people in your communities and around the world, to me, that means so much more.
It is. Drew Brees touches a lot of people. Today it was a 15-year-old kid in Texas, and he's making a difference. We're coming back for more. Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home to hometown sports, covering the biggest high school games. UWF football, catching every game of the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. Plus, local sports commentary with the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. And weekend sports talk with Davis Allen and Justin Patrick on the Sports Call. We are local. We are ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. Learn more at wearebroadcasters.com/hope, furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Well, it's time to social distance in the perfect setting. Tiger Point Golf Club in Gulf Breeze puts the safety of their members and guests as their #1 priority. Each golfer has their own wipe-down individual cart as you play in paradise, overlooking a waterfront view for a round that costs $29 to play. Check it out for yourself. Go to tigerpointgolf.com and check out daily specials and all the precautionary measures they have taken to make sure you are safe during COVID-19. Call 932-1333 and book your tee time today at Tiger Point.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
There's only one name in town when it comes to afternoon local sports talk, the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante.
Some athletes don't want to be given, nobody does.
No, look, when you play with your pops as he gets older, one of the most embarrassing things, my daughter's 3, I just slam it right in her face right at the play school hoop. Like right there, like I'm Zion Williamson.
The games, the players, the fans. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You wanna ride in the 6, you wanna dine in the 6. But when I lean for the kiss, you said I'll probably send you some pics. And I'm like, hell no, been waiting too long. Hell no, I want that cruel love. Hell no, been waiting too long. Hell no, I want that cruel love.
And welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. It's been a fun show getting to talk with legendary quarterback Joe Theismann. Was part of all those great ESPN crews they had back in the day on Monday Night Football, and a guy, too, that has an opportunity to really be around the game. He's still around with Washington. He owned a team in the UFL right there with the team out of Tampa. Had an opportunity to still live in this area in Destin. He's still out there in the golf course, gets out there, has an opportunity to talk to people each and every day in the business. I heard him this week twice driving home, one time on the show right after we get done there with Sarah Spain, and then also an opportunity with demerit on your record.
That's
right there.
fine. I'll take that one.
Oh, you just beat me to it. But I also I really like Freddie and Fitzsimmons and what they do. Freddie Coleman does a great job, and they interviewed him about the Alex Smith injury. And frankly, let's be real, Alex Smith's not coming back. I mean, he's lucky to walk. He's still on the roster, and that's a respect factor to me. And also,
for a guy that has faith in Mackenzie Milton coming back.
I didn't say that. I was just hoping.
Shame on you. Shame.
No, Mackenzie Milton, I'm glad he still has a leg too. Some serious stuff. I'm so glad I've never had an injury like that.
I wish you would. Well, I wish.
You wish me to have, what was that? The timing of what I said.
Yes,
I said, I hope
sure.
I never, and you're like, I wish you.
Well, no, I wish that both those guys would come back because you hope for a story like that. And well, I mean, with the injuries are so gruesome, and that's all you remember. I want to remember. I know it doesn't happen like that. It's life, but I want to remember the good side. I mean, I want to remember the comeback, and I love the underdog. That's why, I love the NCAA tournament. You always get to root on that underdog guy, but for this, it would be awesome. I know that's probably not going to happen. I get that, but I wish it would happen. That'd be sweet.
I know this sounds ridiculous, but is Alex Smith the best quarterback that Washington's had since Joe Theismann?
I made that comment last week when Joe was on the show with Talk Football with Coach K, and I said this before we brought him on. I said, Coach, I'm pretty sure the Redskins haven't been as good since Joe Theismann played for them. So I don't know if Joe agreed with that or liked that comment or not. I was just being honest. I mean, Alex, yeah, I mean, it was good, but they weren't great, and you hated when that happened to them because they were on the right track, and then, well,
yeah,
story be told of what it is now.
And they made such a big deal when Kirk Cousins was heading out to Minnesota, but Cousins had I'll give this, I'm not going to berate Cousins anymore. Not that he cares about my opinion, but I saw the guy grilling me at Minnesota. He's made it clear who he thought,
How do you like him now?
One day, I was a Saints fan to root for him after the Pats got a little salty that night.
Not even one day. It was like 3 hours.
Still was downtown from that night. It was downtown. It was the blessings of the float, Tennessee versus New England, and beautiful night.
Turned out pretty good.
It was horrible. And McGuire's, the whole place became Tennessee. Like, there's only 2 times that people truly celebrate collectively, and it's doing the New Year's Eve and when the Patriots lose in a big game.
Tighten up.
It's true. I get it. Understand. But I just, Kirk Cousins never had won anything. He had never won anything, and then last year he made some big plays. Saints come back, they tie that game, and he drove them down the field in a couple big plays. It was debatable, for sure, especially in today's game.
Pushed off.
Back in the 80s, we wouldn't blink twice, but
what about the pass interference rule? And then how ironic the pass interference rule is not coming back this year. Like, how ironic. We bring it back. Everybody hates it because if you're not going to make it across the board, then why even do it? And Now it's gone.
That's the epitome of why the rule shouldn't have been there in the first place. And I was adamant about it, about why it should not have ever come to fruition. We should have never had a rule that was based on somebody else upstairs in that fat cat seat making another opinion, just a more, quote, important opinion. It's like scientists today and everything. Look, not every doctor, every scientist out there, every researcher is doing what's best for saving lives. Whoa, shocking news alert.
What?
Probably going to block this whole show for that. Yeah, right. There are plenty of people that have a certain agenda. I name
the majority
nobody.
are good.
And if somebody, by the way, when you say things like that, if somebody is like, how dare him say that about, and then they start naming people, you already been thinking about that, brother. I was going to say, yeah. I didn't say anybody. I just said there's some scientists, some doctors, some other people out there that probably have a certain agenda they're pushing, and you come back with like, how dare you attack that guy? you already are ahead of the game, my friend.
Appreciate it. We'll write that name down.
You already knew exactly what was coming right there. But I didn't say a word. But I will say,
it's the Patriot way,
that for pass interference, it was one hideous, not bad, hideously blown call, the worst I've ever seen in sports history. Worse than Eric Gregg umpiring the Marlins and Braves, which was still, ball bounced one time and he called a strike. Then we realized, too, and he could have been having to pay off some debt. But when it comes down to the situation, it was just the worst call, and they should have been reprimanded. Those guys should have been fired. Vinovic's crew, Vinovic needed to step in and had some cojones to overturn that call. There was more to that. I would hope there was more to that than just the worst call with two eyes in the history of the game. But that shouldn't change the landscape of the other 20-something years besides those really bad replacement refs in the Green Bay-Seattle game. But outside of the refs, for the most part, have done an okay job. I mean, every game we're going to choose somebody out. But for the most part, they're there for a reason. And the Gene Scarators and the Ed Hockeleeks and the guys we've gotten to know.
Old steroid Ed.
There he is. His son's out there now with the guns. Not as big of a gun show, but he's still out there. It didn't need to be changed. This year proved it more than ever. I don't know the exact stat on the top, but I know at one point there was 8 overturned calls on 57 challenges. Now, the quick math just goes to show you right there. About 1/5, 1/6 of the calls are getting overturned. And here's the deal. Every single one of them had contact. Every one of them, there was contact. And it's like a DUI. You get pulled over and you go to jail more than likely, unless you just have a real old, like, sheriff's going to get you kind of guy, pulling up the bootstraps, the flip shades. He's got the cowboy hat on, like, you know, and you're not even in like an area like Texas.
You're done
here.
if that happens.
You're just in like a Villages Rent-A-Cop, like in the middle of like Ocala, and he's got the whole thing. Like, you're done. Grandma, you're sorry. But for the most part, even if it's one glass of wine or you've been singing Fireball all night with Pitbull and you're like 15 or 16, da, 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 da. You're just going, every time they say Fireball, you take a shot. You've been there for 6 hours at the club. No matter what it is,
not going back.
Either person that gets in trouble with that, most people, they get off their court case, things like that. They hire a good lawyer, or it's not a lit area where they did the test. It's, you know, it's those kind of things. We live in America, and it's until proven guilty, right? Well, that's the difference here is because of that, 8 out of the 56 calls, every one of those 56, there was contact. Or we sat back like, ooh. Like even the one with Kyle Rudolph, when they looked at it, not enough evidence, call stands. I mean, based on whoever wrote the rules into the book, that is pass interference. Now, would I have called it? No, I would have. Not in that moment. I wouldn't have called it in that moment. So they're making a play. Two guys fighting.
I'm with you, Saints fans.
The reason why I would not have made the call. Look. I live with the Saints. I'm not gaining brownie points by saying this.
You're the reason they lost. Gal. You became the Saints fan for 3 hours.
You could blame that. My team has had 20 years of greatness. So, and the other,
just
my college team,
taking shots
and
at
my college team claims it. So we've won. You know, I'm the last one. I don't want to hear this. Don't want to hear this. But
you'll find out how bad it is this year.
Yeah, I picked a real loser growing up and being a Pats fan. You know, that was what a rocky road it's been.
You better have enjoyed it because, buddy, it's over with now.
Probably related to Arlen Specter. But I will have to say, though, if you are one of these kind of people that wanted the rule change, you were just real angry and probably a Saints fan. I get it. Saw a guy bird box his head into a brick wall when we were watching that game. No joke. I know that sounds terrible. Guy took his head, and started smashing it against the walls right outside on Palafox after that. I was going to call the cops. I didn't want to get anywhere near this guy at this point. I wasn't sure if the zombie apocalypse guy just got bit. Something just happened. But people were that ticked when that all happened, especially after the Diggs play the year before. I mean, it got rocky 2 years in a row. But I do have to say, though, that the rule never needed to be put in place. It was one horrible call, and they need to be reprimanded and hold people accountable for their actions. So this year they go ahead and they just have one person sit back there. We're all sitting there. Like, if you pulled that Kyle Rudolph play, you'd probably get around, I'd say, about a 55-45 around this country. Neutral bystanders. Minnesota and New Orleans don't count. If you've registered as on ESPN, where the first thing you click on,
I'd be willing to bet it's higher than that. It was an extended arm.
No,
there's a difference with an extended arm. Yeah, I would bet $1,000.
Okay,
it would be more than 55.
This is why I'll say no to it. And the biggest thing, because I've watched the play, 50, and so have you, was the extended arm PI? Yes, but you could have called defensive PI 1.5 seconds before that when contact was made.
They were both contacting. Now the finish, both of them were locking up. I agree with that 100%. Okay. But so the extending, every time a wide receiver extends his arm like that play always gets called.
There's also
I don't care about the biggest moment. I don't care for people that say, well, it was a big moment. You can't do it on a call like that. Then why? Can't you?
That's not why I would have called. That's not why. I think that plays into account with a lot of people in basketball especially, not as much football. But I have to say with that, I don't say that as much as the point I was making was there was contact before. If you want to get technical on it, you could have said, well, at one point you could have called if they're reviewing it, it could have been defense pass interference too. Based on the rules, it could have been defense pass interference, and based on that,
okay, but
the call stands.
All right. On that note, defensive pass interference, then you could have also called offensive pass interference with the hand checking that was going and
I don't think usually you would redo
so
the play.
One
it's
and
a
one,
penalty.
those exit out, and then finish the play to extend the arm out like that.
You're right on penalties.
Blatant. It's not even close. It's blatant.
If you're asking me to pick a winner of the most egregious pass interference, it's Kyle Rudolph wins that. Rudolph, the red zone reindeer, right there. He wins that award. He clearly had more pass interference. But it's not a rule like a penalty which sometimes they're ridiculous. You'll get a guy that barely hands to the face on the line, and then you'll get a PI call where the guy picks him up and throws him into the stands, and it's offsetting. But that's the rule. On any penalty, it's offsetting that way. In this case, there's no offsetting penalty. So if they did review it, I would hope there was somebody up in that booth that looked at that and said, the reason why they didn't call, which was, like I said, I agree with you, it was PI on that push. But the difference is, I bet somebody looked and said, hey, look, there was contact on both sides. The call stands.
No, they just didn't want to make the call.
You can't there's no rule in the rule book, though, if they say there was PI on both teams, you redo the play.
No, but common sense comes into play where this guy pushed this guy pushed him back, and then this guy again finished him with an extending of the arm.
You know how it works. It'd be like if you saw somebody 15 times, pop, 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 pop on the street, and then all of a sudden they get them in there and they go to the replay system, and the last time it was a blank. Nothing came out of that gun. Say, I don't know if that 14th or 15th one did it in. The call stands, no murder, because the guy knows somebody.
Well, I just think they don't have the cojones to make the
It's
call.
not the call was confirmed. It's the call stands. You know what I'm saying? That's the easiest cop-out and all. We know that. Any football fan knows, though. The call stands means that, yeah, a lot of you at home are booing right now and throwing things, but, yeah, I just didn't want to overturn.
Like I said, they didn't have the cojones to make the call. No surprise there. So you had all the evidence you needed right there. And I guarantee you they didn't want all the drama. They didn't want to go down this road. Let's move on.
From that standpoint, though, they were about to, and they did. They had things thrown at them. I think someone threw a pitchfork out of this. I don't know how it got in the stands.
Yeah, but the guy in the booth, the one making the call, he ain't getting nothing thrown at him.
That's true. He's fine. They're all
He's
running.
living scot-free.
They all were getting hit. I mean,
He's making tons of money, and he sits up there in that air-conditioned booth and looks at a film, and he's like, all right, yeah, you know what? Nah, good luck, guys.
Third straight year that happened. That was the third year.
Unbelievable.
Saints fans needing to buy a break. Right? They need football. We need football back. Saints fans need football. It's true as last year, too. Maybe. Coming back for more. Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth. You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
It's National Travel and Tourism Week, a week where we take a moment to honor our hospitality workers and the resilient industry they represent. Every year, visitors seeking the Pensacola experience generate over $1 billion in spending and wages, creating 19,000 plus travel-related jobs. Tourism is vital to our recovery, so when it's time for our economy to get back on the road, it's the spirit of travel that will fuel it.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Here at ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Facts, I'm JP. Rumor has it a baseball game in the Atlantic League in 1893, a batter broke his bat and grabbed an axe as it was the only thing to swing around and hit the next pitch in half, where half of the ball went over the fence and they won 2.5-2 in the 11th inning. Quite the walk-off. The home team must provide the referee with 36 footballs for each National Football League game. Just be sure to check the PSI if the Patriots are supplying the footballs. That's your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Facts. I'm JP.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
And welcome back. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I look back to some of those, text one time. I did a segment on, it was Halloween. I'll never forget this. This was like 13 years ago. And I was in Orlando, a large market. And we were working with ESPN Orlando. We had an afternoon show. Brady Ackerman, Jerry O'Neal, the guys, legendary running back, Brady Ackerman. No, he does a great job with Florida, though. I think he's moved into the booth, halftime show. For the Florida Gator Radio Network. And I remember doing a thing on what would be the most ridiculous sports outfit to wear for Halloween. It was Halloween night. We get ready to go downtown, Orange Ave. The party was about to begin. And guys like, this is what it's come to? This is what it's come to? Is we're talking Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck characters on this? And I was like, all right, well, it's like a 5-minute segment. Get off your high rocker here. But I look now at this today, and inside I laugh because ESPN right now, on their third headline, it's come to ranking the top 74 sneakers in NBA history. So times have changed, people. Times have changed. And ranking the top 74 sneakers in NBA history is now headline number 3 of the day. It's different. Happy birthday, Willie Mays, by the way. Happy birthday. Should have been mentioned by now.
Should have been, but
646 on the show. Right? No, 89 years old. Best baseball player of all time? Cash or smash it. You just get one face up there. Baseball is the toughest sport to me to pick the greatest of all time.
I mean, for somebody that says he is, I'm not going to scoff at it.
Yeah.
But I would have to do some thinking.
See, personally, this is where I don't mind, turning up the booze. I'll be that guy. Best baseball player I ever saw, hands down and not even close, was Barry Bonds. He won 7, and I'm bringing this with facts to the board, and he juiced, he's a cheater. Okay, yeah, he did. He got bigger. I agree. It's more than a little protein shakes. That green crap that you swirl around, was it just spinach out there? A little more than what was in Popeye's cans. But Barry Bonds, he was a jerk. A lot of ways people just didn't like him. He didn't have that. It's like Belichick. Think about it. Belichick could be the greatest coach of all time, and Barry Bonds the best baseball player, but people don't want to admit it. If you have anything in you to be like Vince Lombardi, Tom Landry, let's go with another guy, people will do that because they don't want to give people they don't like the credit. It's like Bear Bryant versus Nick Saban. A lot of us don't know Bear Bryant's. I know he was tough on his players. Good person, changed a lot of people. And Nick Saban's changed over the years, but at the beginning, when he was rough and angry and things like that, people didn't want to compare. When you compared Saban to the Bear, people were like, oh, what? It's comparable. Both have 6, what? Right? Isn't it? They both have 6, or does Bear have counted?
Yes.
The real. Okay, I just want to.
Counted real.
I mean, but
real.
But for somebody like Barry Bonds, here's a little ditty for you. Most people probably didn't know this. Not asterisks from hypotheticals and purple dragons and the things you guys want to compare, especially where we live here, where a lot of people grew up an older generation on Hank Aaron. Sure, your dad, a lot of people, folks out in the South grew up, Hank Aaron was the man, Hammer and Hank, one of the greatest of all time. And nobody wanted to see a jerk that grew the size of a Macy's blimp and his head looked like one of those floats going down the road, the Goodyear blimp. Nobody wanted to see him beat the record. And then but what he did, what Barry Bonds has done, he has 7 MVPs. Second closest in the history of baseball. You want to take a ditty on this? Second closest in NBA. I mean, we had Stan Musial, Ted Williams, all the guys, Mickey Mantles, Lou Brox. We can go down a list for hours here, sitting naming the Ty Cobbs of the world, Babe Ruth. You want to take a Jimmy Fox, any of them? Second highest. What do you just take an OJ at it? What would be the second highest without Google fingers?
I have no idea.
Okay, 3.
Because I'm cheating.
3. I know. 3. That was kind. You saw it in front of you and you didn't want. Okay.
Yeah.
That was nice of you. You could have just convinced him, been like, well, good job. Not even half of though. Like Barry Bonds has 7 without one asterisk mark. He never missed a pitch. Alex Rodriguez, actually missed an entire season. Now he gets J-Lo and he does his. It's good on social media. He's doing okay. He's a good broadcaster too. I hate that. He's good at broadcasting. But Barry Bonds, I know a lot of people don't like him, but he won 7 MVPs. It's like Roger Clemens. He misremembered a lot of things. What he did to his best friend at the time, Scott McNamee, and put him through court. Guy crying. He's like, I didn't inject this guy with lidocaine and B12. I did, but it also had a little steroids in it as well. Like he did not want to do that in front of that guy Henry Waxman, who actually looked like a person in the form of a rat. I'm not like that kind, like a narc, but he actually looked like a rat man. But I will say though, for Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, 2 guys hated, and really the poster children with Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire of the steroid era. People won't look at them. Greg Linton comes on the show all the time, and he's like, "No, I can't put them in the same boat." And I get it from the players that played there and maybe did it all natural. I get both sides. But at one point, I'm judging this based on that Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, before they gained the 30 extra pounds, looking at Roger Clemens' rookie cards in Boston, and the way that you had a guy in Barry Bonds in Pittsburgh. Look at their stats. Look them up. He was a 35, 115, 325 batting average kind of guy. Over 400, 425 on base percentage. Consistent MVP numbers across the board. And then they went to a level nobody ever saw before. But this is what I'll say. In the opinion of people, I get it. But if Major League Baseball never had him miss one game, and those 7, according to them, are still relevant with no asterisk next to it or nothing, I think it's unfair that you immediately throw that guy out of the side. You see what I'm saying here? We can assume it. We obviously know what happened. But where would you go? I mean, I personally, when I say that, I know I'm the minority, and people don't want to hear it. But Barry Bonds was the best baseball player I ever got to see. I could take away a guy getting walked with the bases loaded. I watched that live on TV because it was a 3-1 game. They walk in with the bases loaded, and they win the game 3-2. They get the next guy to ground out.
I mean, getting to see and then the best baseball player, for me, it's I don't know. I mean, I just growing up down here, how much, going to Mobile Bay Bear games before the Blue Wahoos were here, guys like Hank Aaron were phenomenal. When you look at Willie Mays, his stats are off the charts. I love Ted Williams just because, I didn't ever, of course, get to watch him play, but going back and watching the old videos and reading about him in books and things like that, I liked him a lot. But his stats don't match up to guys like Willie Mays. And I don't know. I mean, I love Nolan Ryan. I still love Greg Maddux and those guys. I mean, I idolized a guy like Greg Maddux just because he went against the norm where everybody wanted to throw harder. He was throwing softer, and he got people out, and it pisses you off. But for Barry Bonds, it's hard for me to put him in that. It's nothing against him, but it is. I mean, it's hard for me to put him in that realm. I'm not going to deface his name because I don't know. But, I look at guys even today. I mean, you look at guys like the Barry Bonds is you think hitting. I think complete player.
Well, but that's the thing is he was in his first he won 8 Gold Gloves. I mean,
and I get that, but let's also you have to look at the time for the fielding and things like that and what goes into this. I love a guy like a Mike Trout. I know that sounds like the easy. Oh, well, that's a that's a general pick.
Yeah.
He's right now, but
no.
It goes around to what they mean to the game as well. I don't know. I mean, if I have to pick one, I loved Nolan Ryan. I did. I loved the way he played the game. He went against what everybody was telling him to do. He didn't care what people thought, and apparently the only thing that could take him down was a coyote. So
that's right.
You know what?
Got to be worried about those coyotes. We'll come back. We'll talk some more. But happy birthday to Willie Mays. Willie Mays, 89, the uncle of Barry Bonds, but at one point a 565-pound cake from the Houston Astros. Now that probably still has heartburn today, 50 years ago. We're coming back for more. For everybody on Blab TV, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Right here, coming back on the Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
Just felt there's a huge need in Pensacola to bring foot and ankle services, specifically orthopedic foot and ankle services, to this area. There's so much growth in Pensacola. I wanted a freestanding orthopedic foot and ankle center to do this. And as far as I can tell, this is the only one really in the country that's freestanding. Most orthopedic surgeons are part of a multi-specialty group. So we offer on-site x-rays, on-site CT scan, and on-site MRI. They can come to one place.
Visit NielsenOrthopedics.com to reserve your appointment today.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Hey y'all, Mother's Day is Sunday and all 3 boot stores in Pensacola, Loxley, and Daphne are open so your mom can look country hot. $10 to $20 off on name brand boots, $5 off on jeans. Each boot store is spick and span, keeping their customers safe and very well dressed this Mother's Day. Your mom deserves to strut her stuff. Pensacola Boot Store is on Pine Forest Road, in Loxley on Highway 59, and in Daphne on Highway 98. Or find them at thebootstoreal.com. Just look for the big red boot.
From first take to your radio.
Zion, 16 games. Okay, how many games do they have left? About 20, 22 games. All right, so he ain't gonna even reach 40 games. Damn it, I mean, this first year in the NBA, which he's getting paid for, it's like a college season at Duke. Give a damn about no back-to-back. You're 19 years old. 19 years old. All right, figure it out.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Bring it back, tell the DJ turn it up. Better DJ bring it back, tell them play that shit again. Tell them that you like that, like DJ turn it up. Better DJ bring it back, tell the DJ turn it up. Better DJ bring it back, tell the DJ turn it up. Better DJ bring it back, tell them play that shit again. Tell them turn up the bass. DJ turn it up, better DJ bring it back.
And welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. Looking at the stories today, Mike Tyson, 53, excited about it. Just, it's on, something to watch. Taking on Sonny Bill Williams, rugby player out of New Zealand right there, 34 years old.
Yep. That's all you're getting out of me on that one. Yep.
Were you a Tyson fan? Not Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. That was fun, though.
That was fun.
Don Flamingo. You can never actually pause the him running. That was the one annoying thing. Like, a lot of times today your controller gets stuck or something like that. You couldn't get through. There was no way to get through of watching him jog. What was the guy's name again? The guy who, oh man, should know this one. Mike Tyson fought the little guy from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Champ or the Squirt, whatever the guy's name was. And then he jogged with the guy past the Statue of Liberty. And you couldn't, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly. You can Google this. I don't know right now. I can't.
I just ran across that, and I don't know if there's any truth to it or not, but the WWE possibly being sold to ESPN and Disney.
Ah.
Well, it said it could be sold as soon as mid-May. I don't know if this is true or not. I'm reading back and forth. Some people are saying, no.
Makes sense.
But then again, it's a guy. Look, Vince McMahon, XFL went down. He could be parting ways with some things. I don't know.
I think to me it makes sense from both parties. Think about it. ESPN is still making their money because ESPN there's more people at home. I had somebody at the headquarters when this all first started, and people were like, man, everyone's losing their job. There's no sports. Your job must stink. We've been still here. But one thing that is true is ESPN's numbers actually went up because all those people that were in the hustle bustle of life, you were at a softball game. I was in the backyard with the family, grilling out and doing the yard work as I do every night when I'm just painting that picture, not at all. But no matter what it was, the people are now sitting on the couch watching things, watching reruns of games or watching their headlines from the draft. So the ESPN numbers went up. ESPN's doing fine. They got the money. Now, WWE took a hit, and so did, more than importantly, the XFL. So a huge hit. I mean, bankrupt the league pretty much. So at this point, if you're Vince McMahon, he's now 70. He's about 70 years old.
Hey, get out.
It's time to get out. He gets a check from ESPN. They buy it. I'm sure he might still have his ties. I'm sure he'll get some nice stocks and bonds and savings, and we'll be okay. But that makes sense on both parties. I see it. Because the WWE is still going to be around. It always will have a good fan base. All the time we have for today's show. JP?
Yep.
Enjoyed it? Yep. Thanks, Joe Theismann.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.